And we're live here on IPL with the CCA Qualifier 2 of this circuit. My name's Spicy. I'm joined on the mic here by Sove. How are we doing today?
Ah, man, it's a beautiful day. Circuit 2 is starting up, and we are looking for the last of our competitors into the greater event. 100+ college teams coming in fighting for this last spot, and it's going to be a long but fun day ahead here, Spicy.
Oh yeah, you absolutely love like this kind of thing with the circuit format especially. You really get to see all these schools. Like sometimes they can't make the first one event, they get able to show out here in the second one, and that's really some of the beauty just of this event in general. Super excited to get into it. We got Clark Coy from Clark University, Are You Hydrated from Rowan, already in a great matchup here to kick us off.
Yeah, as I say, we were kind of talking about this little pregame, but we've got New England coming in against the Mid-Atlantic, and this is a pretty good way to open it, considering that we've seen Clark Coy kind of be one of those teams that hangs around. They've been in this league for quite some time. They're I would call them veterans, and just kind of looking over the team with Weird One, Rossum, Void, Mapley, and White Pine. A lot of them say no weapons listed, but we all kind of know the meta right now, so I have to assume this team
Mhm.
is ready and looking for a place to start in.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we're kicking us off here with Rainmaker, Undertow, Spillway. Quick look at the comps here, and you got seeing a lot of things that have been pretty relevant nowadays too, especially seeing a lot of the Splattershot pros. Interesting seeing that RU is representing that Forge Pro instead now. Not exactly the most meta option you will see, especially also paired with the Blob. Interesting
Yeah.
setups really from both of these sides.
Yeah, I feel like Clark's a little bit. I'm sorry, yeah, Clark is a little bit more kind of what we would have expected. But I do actually like the Forge. It gives you a lot of dueling power, and it gives you a little bit more of a backline. The Blobber also not necessarily as worried about winning based on your aim. So I do like it, but you still have to get control with Rainmaker. And point one's already going to Clark, so halfway done.
Yeah, already at that first checkpoint with barely 35 seconds through. Clark's on an absolute rampage so far. Immediately picking up the Rainmaker again, getting that soda, already making a big push. Two down from the side of
Booyah bombs
Rowan,
in, we're over.
and this is already
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah.
GG. That's game one.
That's beautiful. Look, that was a lot of just beautiful teamwork out of Clark. That was a great set of set plays there. You saw the bubble come down, even though it wasn't necessary. Those are the kinds of instincts that you need to go on and win in these kinds of qualifiers. Like, that's exactly it. Whether you needed the bubble or not, it was there. Whether you needed the Booyah Bomb or not, it was there to provide the cover. Excellent set plays out of Clark Coy. That shows you why they are such a strong contender like we were talking about.
Yeah, Clark is doing so far really good in this season so far. Already in like that seventh place here in Division 3, 43 points after that first stage. And you're seeing this them do off such a great start here. The nice thing though about the Swiss stage of the circuit is that it is playout 3. So every game really does matter here, especially just to get any extra points. And in the meantime, in the long run, that is going to be really what does end up coming down to it. We're going into Makomar though for tower control here on game 2.
Yeah, less likely to have that kind of shutout potential like we saw
Mm-hmm.
for Rainmaker. But I do think that for a team like for what we saw from RU, I do think that this does kind of lend in their favor. This is a very vertical map. Something like a Bloblobber allows you to play those angles, kind of similar to like a slosher or a roller where you can kind of play from under, or you can play from a little bit of safety while still hitting those angles. So I do think that their picks do have some validity. I'm interested to see what they change though, because that was very handedly and quick. I mean, let's just be real here. Clark is not playing around, so you cannot really afford to play it too slow.
Definitely, yeah, and I know Rowan's going to be in the matter to trying to see if you can even slow down Clark,
Yeah.
which is not exactly going to be easy to do. Granted, like, Rainmaker does open up the capability for that, which we saw in game 1. You take a push, you get the check, and then immediately push forward. Tower is more linear. You do have to follow a pace, which does allow Rowan to develop their own kind of defensive set play, but Clark, you've seen the offensive momentum already, and like momentum's such a big thing in like these longer events as well. Knowing that you have to play multiple sets throughout a day, be able to potentially go far in this event too. So interesting to see really from both sides what kind of options we got coming for.
Yeah, both of these teams are probably going to see some changes, maybe not as big. I don't think that the heavy edit's going to come back as much. It's probably going to go back over to pencil. Edit's great, but it is very limited in kind of, when you have smaller spaces to cover, with this midpoint of Mako Mart being kind of so important to cover and making sure your backliner can just kind of set up and turret there. It really does kind of lend better to pencil to kind of make sure you are building up that cooler, that kind of helps everything around. Make sure your bubble has the space to paint and get in and drop and protect. So this is, again, Clark is going to be slowed down by the map type, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to take the pressure off. And I think Rowan really is going to have to respond on that.
Definitely, yeah, and like we've talked about this multiple times now, but Clark's main advantage so far has really just been that set play. That coordination has been impressive to say the least. You mentioned how like playing off the bubble, playing off the core, and being able to just get so many points off that, so pivotal. And here in tower control too, where you have to wait around the pacing a bit too, it's gonna matter a lot seeing this kind of gameplay now and really see what we got. Well, I love to see the comps here from both these sides as well. I got two rollers, one on each side now here too, and you did mention that pencil switch now from Clark instead of the heavy edit.
I want to throw in also the blaster pick gained so much popularity in the recent timing, and it's also just as good here. Rossum is going to be so powerful when it comes to just hitting at distances and controlling these high grounds. Just look at that. They've already team wiped already as they got this under control. Thankfully for the side of RU, they will have a couple more fights going to kind of get this back on their control.
Oh, definitely, yeah, but as we speak, Clark's already at that first checkpoint, and you see the pressure already being pushed up into RU territory. Not a lot of space for Rowan to really make any type of move here, as Clark is just pushed up so far into their base. You're starting to see a few of Rowan just try and kind of scramble towards that tower, but in the process, they keep losing members. They're 2 down, once again, 3 down now. Checkpoint 2 in favor here of Clark, and they're just mowing down all of these points here, and it's already just, at this point, already going to be past the second check.
Yeah, Clark did not come to play today. They came to win, and we're seeing it. I don't know that we've even really seen many deaths, maybe 1 to 2 on their side. So Clark just absolutely, again, just very clinical in their understanding of what they need to do, understanding when the tower's here, we move and we take this position. We send in our Booyah Bomb to buy space, we get set up, and we just take over the map slowly but for surely. Just expertly done by the Clark team. They look phenomenal today. It's hard not to talk about it with how dominant they are on these maps.
Oh yeah, and you see the fist bump too. It just shows how impressive Clark has been playing today. And they're firing on all cylinders. Pretty much everything seems to be going their way. And that's not easy to do in a game like Splatoon. One interesting thing I've noticed is that in both of these first 2 games, Rowan is the team that actually gets that first early lead in like the first like 5 seconds or so, but then Clark just responds, and usually when Clark has responded, it has been like 100-0 effectively there, and that's just really impressive seeing like Clark, even if they don't win the first initial engagement, they win every engagement afterwards and then steamrolls their way effectively into a knockout.
It's very good game awareness and kind of map awareness to know that, look, we can give up the initial point, maybe we even lose first pick, but just to acknowledge that, we can isolate, we can set up our 2v1s and kind of set up the duels that we want to win and then kind of collapse onto all the other players. You can tell their communication is so well, and it's just unfortunate for the side of RU because they're not, it feels like you can kind of see it, they're not really getting the chance to respond. Like you said, they're trying to just scramble out to recover wherever they can. We saw the zipliner get immediately go in, try to make a play, but just immediately get canceled because someone from the backline called it out and said, oh, zipline's in, everybody turn and focus it out. RU is trying to throw those punches back, but they unfortunately just walked into a game 1 haymaker, which is Clark.
They really did, and it's like interesting because I think our initial analysis was like RU has to respond to like the speed in the way that Clark is playing. It kind of feels like Rowan is trying to play too fast, and because of that, they're kind of making those mistakes. So it's like they get the first lead, but then like every time else, and they kind of stagger every time. It's never like really a full force type of approach to like defense. It's usually just like there's like 2 people going in, but when 2 people go in, then they just go out, and they're kind of having that like constant rotation and constantly just a member down or 2 members down, which has been really hard for them, like just being in that numbers disadvantage this entire time. Clark has been composed, they've been like calm, and it's just like an entire wall coming like through it, just mowing down all these points.
I mean, call it just a veteran advantage. Like they've been here a while. They've run so many of these events. They've been in so many of them, and they kind of understand it. Not that Rowan doesn't have that clinical level of play, but maybe it's just like maybe it's just a little bit of a veteran's play. But game 3 is upon us. We have, I believe it was zones over in Hagglefish. Thank you. So, this is one of those ones. This is one of those map mode combinations that's very interesting because we would probably see the return of that heavy edit possible. Pencil's good, but it doesn't quite really like you can't necessarily reach the center to cover it, so I think we'll see more of these kind of longer backline picks. I know we also saw a couple of the other snipers get fringe play. This is a great map for some of those like E-leaders that occasionally get play too.
Oh, definitely, yeah. E-leader has seen those kind of niches like really come back, especially like the upper echelons of Splatoon, and like it's one of those weapons where like, you can play it especially well. It's one of the most dangerous weapons to really have to fight against, have to consider all of the range and all that. Interested to see if you see that potentially from either of these teams here, and especially now trying to just think about like the painting power from like both of these teams. Like Rowan has had this blob that's been like, when it works, it works, shown, it works very well. It's more so now, can it kind of provide that? And it's like I'm liking it here on Haggle. Just kind of trying to think of like the angles around the zone as well, and seeing if you can get that kind of painting approach. Anything for them to just kind of change things up, because hey, even if you do lose this set, getting one game is still going to be really massive the rest of the way.
Yeah, the one thing I've kind of noticed also about Rowan's compositions is there's no, it feels, at least it feels like there's no dedicated like all-in Slayer role. There's no one like taking flanks to try to get any value, pick, or distract. And I feel like that's something that Clark has kind of had. We've seen that in both maps where there's someone that's been aggressive, gotten in their face to match the rest of the style, and that's something that maybe RU can kind of take into the future with that, is because we saw, we're seeing the Forge, we're seeing a lot of these slower kind of pick-based ones where they want to, like you said, set up and really kind of set this. And you can do it in Hagglefish on zones. You have a little bit of time, but you can't necessarily do that when your team is aggressing like Clark is.
Definitely, yeah. So interested to see this. How does Rowan approach this? Because you've seen a lot of the similar stuff here from Clark. I did see a Dynamo roll come out there on their end instead. And meanwhile, from the side of Rowan, you see the Dreadrigger now come out here as well. So some interesting swaps. I'm really interested to see this, especially now that RU does have the Reef Slider in play from their side.
Yeah, so the Reef Slider's in. The Chumps coming in also is kind of an interesting niche little pick. They're not fantastic about it, but it can work. Watch Rossum there on the flanks, though. That's exactly what I was talking about, that Clark has been doing so well. And just like that, Swirls, you get that pick on the Swirls, and it's, like you said, they don't necessarily get the first pick, but they will get the point.
Yeah, Clark, just pick after pick. They kind of just did it so individually there, and I was all able to get them this early lead. Now, in the past, we've seen in both those early games that whoever gets the first lead ends up losing, but the way Clark's been playing, and the numbers advantage, once again, that's the second wipe. It's 45 seconds of it, and they have the Tacticore up as well. They're positioned so far up, there's nowhere for Rowan to move.
That was a huge denial, too, from Boyd to be able to get that. And again, this is one of those combinations I was talking about, those kind of aggressive Slayer rolls where you're in faces. Clark is just not giving them an inch to breathe. 40 seconds still on the clock, and it's just kind of all in. Thankfully, they have to give some space. The Booyah Bomb comes in, but RU might get a chance to get control here.
Yeah, they put the zone into neutral now. Two members from RU are also down in the process, and Clark is going to be able to take this zone back without any penalties, and there goes two more members of Rowan down, and a few more also already getting splatted out here, or less than 10 points to go, and we might be seeing another 100-0 effectively as Clark 3-0 here in the first round.
College is all about learning, and I think this is a great learning set for RU. Because while they did eventually push out and get control, they kind of took the right idea and applied it incorrectly. When RU got control, they got past, they got the couple picks out of Clark and punished them for playing aggressively. What they didn't do and needed to do, unfortunately, was continue to clean up the rest of that. They kind of just said, oh, they should give up, play more passively, and we should be able to push in and get and control the point. Kind of almost overly focusing on the point there, which is why they didn't, you saw them get it to neutral, like you said, but they never quite got it back in their favor. So right idea, just needs a little bit of fine tuning. There's a lot of potential in this Rowan team. There were a lot of great shining moments for them, but when you come up against a juggernaut like Clark, I hate to say it, but like the 3-0 is almost kind of expected.
Definitely, yeah. It's scary to think about this too, but after like that first qualifier, Clark wasn't even like positioned to make it into finals, which is like crazy to think about, because you look at how this team is playing and like forget the standings, the eye test is doing so many good things here for Clark, and like It feels like there's so many deep pockets that they have too. Like you've been seeing like multiple weapon switches from their side. We had a different tactical weapon each and every
Yeah.
game, and it's just like one of the great things here to see from Clark, a team that's already putting up such a great amount of promise here, and only in the second stage or the second qualifier. Rowan has some shining moments too, just a little more polished, as you said. But either way, I think still a great showing from like both of these squads.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of time. You know, this is going to be a longer day, and maybe you don't clear it, like you said, maybe you don't clear qualifier 2, but there's still for future qualifiers down the road. So for both teams, you know, the end of the road is not anywhere close to sight. We've still got plenty of more games to be played today.
Definitely, yeah. We are going to be taking a quick break as we go into our next set, but don't go away. We'll be back very shortly here on IPL.
Inside lane, missing exits, glued to the pavement. Between the lines, I'll keep my gaze straight ahead as the last stop flies by. No more waiting for the gun to fire. No more walking through revolving doors. I've gone around once, and I don't need to go around anymore. Break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway. And cancel the cruise control. Switch it in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right? Shape the mind, speeding up the pace, turning up the heat, where I need to be for the first time. I'm taking risks, I'm casting off without a lifeline. Break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words, stop stalling in the doorway, and and cancel the cruise control. Switching in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right again? Don't you wanna feel whole? Don't you wanna feel? start falling, 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 'cause we'll start falling.
Yeah, we said we let it go, but we settled for the last. Couldn't let you want it though. Who am I to let you down? No, who am I to let you down? Down, if you let me walk away, maybe then we'd lose it all. No. Who am I to let you
Inside lane, missing exits, glued to the pavement. Between the lines, I'll keep my gaze straight ahead as the last stop flies by. No more waiting for the gun to fire. No more walking through revolving doors. I've gone around once, and I don't need to go around anymore. Break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway and cancel the cruise control. Switch it in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right? Full steam through the setbacks. You can't win them all, but I'm proud I tried. I'm glad we had a dialogue. It's good to shape the mind. Speeding up the pace, turning up the heat. Where I need to be for the first time. I'm taking risks, I'm casting off without a lifeline. Break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway. And cancel the cruise control. Switch it in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right again? Don't you wanna feel whole? Don't you wanna feel?
We're back here on IPL with more CCA Qualifier 2 action. This time, some D2 matchups. Now we got EaUCD Splatoon White from UC Davis coming up against Creamed Core from University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Once again, I'm Spicy. I'm joined on the mic here by Soap. Another great matchup here next for round 2.
Let's say two Div 1 teams, both with a win out of round 1. Cream Corn coming up to 3-0. UC Davis coming in the 2-1. So, we talked about how they'll play all three and every single game will matter. So, slight edge to the Cream Corn crew, but it's hard because on paper, both of these teams are very, very solid looking. And, this is definitely going to kind of really kind of show us the divide of Division 2, I think.
Definitely, yeah. It's one of the more interesting things I'm looking at here. Looking at this, and it's like great squads here from both of these teams. Violet, Tim, Wishy Washy, Eli, United Lawler from Splatoon White, EaUCD. Meanwhile, Cream Corn, Nito, Chips, Drywall, Smart Cube, Toast Ghost, IG, Addy. I've recognized a lot of these names here from the course of CCA. So I'm not surprised to see both these teams doing well overall. This is such a good matchup here coming into this next round.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Like this is one of those sections where we just if you've been around, you know these players. I'm not here often. I still know these players. I know this is probably going to be a 1-1 after game 2, and this is probably going to be a close match, barring anything kind of crazy happening. With Cream Corn having a little bit of a more deeper roster, I'm kind of interested to who starts on game 1 when we go to Amami Ruins, because this is that's going to kind of really set us the mode. Are we keeping a backliner in our pocket? Are we expecting maybe someone to, bring out maybe like a mid-range besides a pencil, something maybe like the edit again? I think this is really going to kind of tell us what Cream Corn is doing to use their depth of roster to their success.
Yeah, and I was going to immediately look into who Cream Corn brings. Drywall, Leftwigs, Nito. Forgot that last player already, but it's now interesting to see these comps coming in. Yeah, this guy's toast. Thank you for that. interesting comps really from both of these sides. You're so excited to see this. You see some weapons you don't really get to see very often. Looking at the Luna Blaster there from Pampers, and you're also seeing the Gold Dynamo brought out as well on the other side.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of interesting picks, but the first Splosher that's 2 down on the side of Green Corn. So UCD coming out pretty hard, wishy-washy with the tent. Again, one of those odd picks that maybe you don't necessarily get to see a lot of, but they are absolutely just dominating the space right now. I say that, but oof, that's 2 down. Great stop.
Yeah, you see that. There was a great stop there from Cream Corn because I like the ideas going there from Splatoon White there. I like having the Tenta to just kind of push up as that's your basically your riot shield going in, especially when you have the power clam ready. But none was at that point there. And it's real close. A very big neutral game at this point. You see the Reef Slider coming in from Nightbloom, going to get the pick, get traded out in the process. But here at this point, meanwhile, you see Cream Corn mowing players down. Nito doing such a great job on their end, just trying to see what they're going to be able to do now too, just trying to get anything going. But after this point, 1 minute in, no team has scored yet.
I would say the clam economy does favor Cream Corn. Like, they have 16, they have enough to make a clam, but they're looking for a special, and it's going to be the Chumps to send it in with the Tri-Strike. Maybe a little bit high invested, but with Toscos getting a pick, this is probably the best time you're going to be able to go.
Definitely here. It's looking like that would have been their option. That would have been the play. Thanks, and unfortunate they're getting canceled out. Cream Corn is able to score. It was only 1 member up at the time, though. Not sure if they're going to be able to get any other additional follow-ups here at Splatoon White. Looks like they're going to be able to keep the basket from just getting any other clams in, and now have a chance to really just take the lead at their own point. They have the pity clam. They also know they just need one more to get the lead. A lot of time so far, but just not a lot of scoring done on either side.
No, Wishy-Washy's going to try to send in the vacuum to try to maybe alleviate and kind of do the set play. So they do get the 1 in and a few after, but it's the immediate wipeout response from Cream Corn. So unfortunately, just a hair short, but a fantastic stop from them.
A fantastic stop indeed, and like the scoring is just not a lot. It's literally Splatoon White, the bare minimum to get the lead here, and it's so close so far. You see 2 power clams already from the side of Cream Corn. They're making their way in, about ready to make a push, and you're seeing the Splatoon White. You see Davis trying to just hold him off here, kind of around this mid-sector, and great Reef Slider there, especially right where the tactical core was.
Yeah, just great read, just acknowledging, look, I have to deny this resource, and they get rewarded for doing so. They get 1 clam out of the way now, but Green Corn still holding on to the second pick now. It's going to be the vacuum as well. Maybe a little ambitious for UC David, but they have to go on it.
Yeah, trying to see what else are they going to be able to do here about approaching the 2-minute mark here now. Cream Corn does have that power clam ready, and you see that Splatoon White also does. You see Davis trying to move in. You're starting to see a lot of moves here, and Pampers able to get that pick there onto Toscos, getting hit out in the process as a punishment. But you're seeing this all in less than 2 minutes now. Not a lot of time really, but you see these players just trying to just get anything going. Nightbloom once again has that power clam, just trying to just get anything down here into this midsection, and you see the Reef Slider also online, has another chance to maybe make another big play.
They're gonna have to 2 specials up and out for the side of UC David, but I mean they've kind of struggled every single time. Cooler out, back out, they're sending everything in, but they're getting it, and Nightbloom loses it.
Unfortunate there. I was wondering if they're just gonna pop the Reef Slider at being their entryway, but now it's get canceled out. UC Davis now with 3 down briefly at that point. They're not able to try to get their way back in. Cream Corn now, it's just Nito and 1 other member up here just trying to stay alive into mid. A lot of fighting going on here, approaching the last 60 seconds, and it's still such a close game.
Yeah, I'd say 3 points plus a little bit, plus 1 from the penalty is kind of separating these teams right now. So a single clam is enough to get it, but with 1 power clam up for the side of UC David, they kind of lead the way. Triple strike now from Nito. I think it's just kind of a desperation move to buy the space to get in, but looks like they got what they wanted out of it.
Oh, and Nito and Wishy was trying to fight off this back, gonna push it off the edge though, and that's gonna be enough as a 3 down now from the side of UC Davis. Cream Corn has an opportunity to maybe make something up happen here now. We see a clam still in favor here of UC Davis. Just trying to see that power clam's gonna break. It is going to now. Pampers is able to get that last splat here, about 30 seconds to go in regulation, and the rate we're going, maybe a chance to go into overtime, or maybe another chance for Splatoon Davis just to get any last play, any last push here. They have the clams ready, and maybe just make 1 more play.
Yeah, they don't really have any specials up. You have the Dynamo special, so you're really kind of dependent on this poke phase. You have to get some sort of a pick out of this.
Big
That's
Zuka.
a huge shot for the bazooka.
Here's here out from Wishy-Washy, making the pass up here. The back is also in play. You're starting to see the power clubs are being moved. You're seeing a jump now also there, and there's the basket being broken, and that's going to be it there. What an insane game one.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a good matchup, but this, I think, really kind of showed it. 32-20, a singular basket break between these two teams really kind of made the difference. But I think what was kind of, when you take a look back at the bigger picture, at the macro of it all, both of these teams never really came in with these very unique styles. You know,
yes,
coolers expected, but usually you expect to see like a bubble, you expect to see a booyah bomb, something that really holds or takes the space away so you can get in. And the kind of closest we saw to that was the vacuum, and it worked. It did exactly what it needed to do, but it was a very unique pick. So a lot of these unique choices coming in for both teams really kind of showed that, you know, how they're really able to play maybe off meta to success.
Yeah, and I love that especially in Collegiate, you do see a lot of those like off-meta selections. You saw it in space from both of these sides.
Yes.
I saw Dark Tetra dualies too. Barely got a chance to talk about that, or just even seeing Tetra in general. Not there very often anymore. But a lot of these players, they're just playing what's comfortable, and that's really valuable here. Going into game two, Rainmaker, Humpback. Maybe going to be a bit of a swap here, a change up compared to what we saw in Clan Umami, where compared to especially what we saw in the first round today on IPL, not a lot of scoring. But here we are going into Rainmaker, a mode where especially after checkpoints are broken, does open a lot more of that scoring, a lot more for that offense. I'm really curious to see how both these teams approach it.
And you mentioned the comfort factor a little bit earlier, but let's talk about the comfort factor. This is a map and a mode that players have been playing for 2 whole games now. Like, this is not unfamiliar territory. So this should be something that both of these teams kind of already understand where their set plays are. Yeah, you have to deal with the pedestals, but that's like a slight road bump. Like the general plans of set plays are kind of the same. But considering we saw that chaos really kind of thrive for both of these teams, I don't know that we're going to see a lot of, hard set plays like we saw in game 1 today. I think we're going to see a lot scrappier play based around, who is getting the first opening pick and then who is able to capitalize or respond or send in a special to kind of balance that out. It's really going to come down to the individual moment to moment, I feel like, in this map too.
I would agree. I think this map mode combination does offer a lot more, it puts a lot more emphasis on, I feel like, flexibility. Just being able to adapt in the in-game moment. Like you mentioned, like the little in-game, the one-to-one interactions. Each of those are going to end up building up, especially just getting to that first checkpoint, which is going to be a really important, integral part there. And after you get to that, the final push, just getting to that last podium, is a nightmare at times, especially here on a map where everyone's very comfortable on it. We're so curious to see what gets brought out now for both of these squads.
Yeah, the pathing for this map is it's not only is it known, like we all kind of know like where people are going to want to play, but they're also going to know, it looks like, no real changes players wise from either side. So let's see if those weapons change a little bit. The bow is kind of one I was hesitant to call out. We've seen this kind of stringer get some success from Wishy-Washy. We've seen that find a lot of success paired with the hammer in this particular map mode combination, and I think that might be something we have to watch out for, is Wishy-Washy in particular. Between the bow and the hammer kind of leading the way in the pathing, that might be what gives UCD the chance to win here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, from the side of Cream Corn, I noticed that Toast goes over to the ballpoint. I haven't seen ballpoint. You don't see ballpoint very often anymore. It used to be a pretty relevant pick, but also not picking on vacuum is such an interesting option here too. Seeing how it's gonna work out, they get picked off in the process though. Cream Corn was gonna go 3 down here and able to get some trades in the process. But UCD trying to see if they're gonna be able to have enough to get over towards this podium. Hammer time coming in now from Wishy-Washy. A couple members are going to be going down in the process. Not able to get the checkpoint here either.
Close, but no cigar. We saw you. That was kind of what I was expecting. Wishy-Washy to use that hammer to clear the space for that to come through. That's a pretty standard tactic for this map, for this mode comp. But I mean, it just kind of didn't quite work in their favor. The Explosher that we've seen again here is also a unique pick for Cream Corn. You don't necessarily see a lot of it. They find a lot of value. It is cooler up now. Means that it's going to get met by the hammer, denied immediately. Wow, that was a play.
That was an insane play, and all of that also gets the Rainmaker reset into mid. Everything working out in favor now for Cream Corn. They still have yet to get any scoring on the board here. Pampers doing a great job sharking, almost able to get some massive picks. As gets located by the Ink Mine though and shut down in the process, but could have had something big here. You're seeing that Rainmaker just stuck in mid. No one able to really navigate it here, and UC Davis having a hard time navigating past Toscos, who's doing such a great job with the long range pressure here as Cream Corn now with an opportunity. They throw the strikes over towards this podium, and Left Wicks is going to be able to break through this checkpoint.
This is what this double backline comp wants to do, though, right? It wants to control from mid, to be able to put the pressure and deny and buy the space back so you can get these first checkpoints. But now that you're here, it's a lot harder to do it. Drywall does find through, but every special just gets yeeted at them. They are deleted back to spawn, and that will stop it there. 23. That's enough to win here, though, Spicy. That's enough to hold this. You don't really need to do much more. You can sit back and play defensive if you want to in your Green.
Definitely, yeah, especially with Cream Corn having those double backline options, like they can really outrange anything UCD wants to do. You do see that Pampers does have that Zipcaster option though, which is a nightmare sometimes for these backline players, just knowing that all that space gets taken away in an instant. But now it's a matter of seeing, can UC Davis really make a play? They still have to get past this first podium, get through the check. And what an interesting use of this here, railing here from Drywall, just being able to stay on top of it and just get such a nice angle here, especially with the verticality there on Humpback, and also throwing out that splashdown, getting the pick on the Pampers as well. Just some great plays on their side as we approach the last 2 minutes.
Yep, but the problem here, Spicy, is that we've committed so much value, so many specials, and it's just been sitting at mid. We haven't got anywhere. Finally, we get control, and Toscos is going to send him back, but it's over. The hammer just comes in and ends it right away.
Yeah, it's like you blink and your push is already gone here. Everyone's getting shut down. Less than 2 minutes to go here. UCD still has to get the Rainmaker over to the podium and then get all the way to the 22. They're making another push over onto this right side. They are going to be able to break through this checkpoint finally. Wishy-washy though getting shut down, but look at this. Cream Corn 3 down briefly, and now we're going to see, can UCD make this push? You see Pampers now on with this Rainmaker, trying to just navigate around. 2 down from the side of Cream Corn, and this might be enough to just sneak on through. Gets shut down at the 22. Wow. It's just barely enough to get the lead.
That's enough to get the lead now. They just need to keep the numbers down. They get it and push it further to 11. 10, it gets stopped at the 10-point mark, but that's enough. The hammer goes flying, doesn't quite get it. And I think with the numbers now favoring Cream Corn, that's going to be the end. But what a fantastic, just frantic push from the side of UCD, just recognizing, look, we have to go now. We have to push this advantage while we have it. We get our picks, and we go. And it's Cream Corn now on the back foot. Last minute here at 23. They have to get not 1, but 2 solid good pushes if they even want to get this Rainmaker into a position to lead.
Definitely, yeah, they have 50 seconds. They have a little bit of time. Those lasers are putting a big stall out in the process, though, and that was with all that chip, it was going to be enough there. The vac is going to come through now. Pampers, though, with that zip, and you see the hammer also coming through. 3 down briefly from the side of Cream Corn as UCD is holding on strong. They see 30 seconds left to go. If they're able to just hold on here or really prevent another big push from Cream Corn, this will be enough for them to take this set.
Yeah, UCD is just now just kind of look at, they're not aggressing onto this. They're just holding their space. They're just going to say, look, we know we're in the last minute here. We just need to get a pick. We just need to get them to control and then make a stop, and we win this. So great recognition of the state of the game on the side of UCD.
Yeah, great recognition indeed. And here we are. This could be a potential overtime here, or is UCD just going to be able to shut it down in the process? You see that bomb placed very nicely there. Splash had to go into effect there. Here, Drywall, last gasp here from the side of Cream Corn, and they're seeing if they're going to be able to make something happen. Pampers immediately going in, trying to get this shut down immediately there. Toast goes with the back. Drywall has some time. You see a big pick and 3 down here from the side of UCD. Drywall and the rest of Cream Corn going to try and make the push. You see a lot of them position up in front. Killer Whale coming out now here, and now you're going to be able to see if he's going to be able to get any other picks. Now you're seeing few members down. Splashdown coming out as well. Not a lot of time, not a lot of movement being here, and you're seeing all these bombs starting to be chucked. There is nowhere to go if you are Drywall, and Pampers is coming on in, trying to get this last pick, and that's going to be it here for UCD.
Oh, that was the frantic play I think we were expecting to get out of this.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
God, that was just beautifully done, because UCD was just constantly, you could see it. Anytime they get a special, it was immediately send in, but there was a push, somebody else was leading the way. Someone else was in the front. You saw the killer whales just get led away because they hooked onto the wrong person. Just phenomenal play from both of these teams, particularly these splashdowns in particular, like just acknowledging, look, we have to send every piece of spam if we want to get this. And all it took was finally getting that zip liner to go in, that aggressive play. Pampers going in and just finally just saying, look, you're too busy facing forward. I'll catch you from behind and win there. Beautifully done to keep that focus and then send in your Slayer to just turn the game in your favor. What a phenomenal game. UCD, they take the set in 2, but I don't know that they'll get the full 3 here, Spicy. This is a very, very close game going into ship-shaped cargo.
Yeah, I'm really curious because I feel like just on paper, I really like Ship-Shaped Tower for Cream Corn. We were seeing it how their comp was working, and one thing about like double backline especially is that I think it works really well on defense until you get opened up. And on Tower, you have the opportunity to really fortify your defense there. If you get a lead, especially on Ship-Shaped Cargo, where you can really big those big leads if you get to it first, you can kind of play on the defensive end. And I think Cream Corn's defense has been really solid for the most part there. Like a 23-point and Rainmaker was going to be enough for the most part, but like UCD just did such a great job getting it all the way to the 10 and then having great defense on their own here. But Cream Corn has been playing very well, and for a lot of moments it felt like they were in control. I wouldn't be surprised to see them get a game here in this set.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't be shocked if they take this game 3, because like you said, the kind of passive double backline play really does lend to such a large map like this, and then add in the fact that you're in like a slow mode like tower control where you are only going as fast as that thing moves. So now you can set one of your backliners on the tower to kind of watch it, the other one on a different angle to kind of defend. I actually really do like that setup, and I think it gives Cream Corn a bit of an edge to steal a map and give themselves this, because we are in Div 2. And these are both teams that are 1-1. Like, this is probably an actually very important, round for this. Like, getting the 1 would be so big for Cream Corn to stay alive going into the cut segments.
Of course, here. And you're looking at what we got here, and like I see Nito immediately on the ink brush, a big weapon swap there. Tosco's also on a charger now here too. So we're going to be seeing a lot of these weapon swaps, and you even see a new bow from the side of UCD. So a lot of differences here, and now it's just a matter of who's going to be able to play and execute here at this point. A lot of good stuff here already. Cream Corn has the tower now. You see all the lasers, all the defense here from UCD, and great picks from the side of Phantasma too, as like Cream Corn not able to get very far here in this first push.
Yeah, you kind of called it out, but the other thing that kind of got missed in those callouts for the weapons was UCD is running double. They're running double whale here, so that's a lot of ability to just add long range pressure and then be able to capitalize on what you saw the Dynamo doing. So they're already in the lead. It's not much of one. This is the first initial tough spot, but those whales, once they come back online, are going to be they're going to make it so much easier to get past those difficult spots.
Yeah, and I really like that actually now that I think about it too. This very neato with the ink brush too. Like whale and bombs are gonna be your only options from a range here because ink brush plays so up close and personal. Meanwhile, you're seeing now what can Cream Corn do on defense here. This is where they tend to be at their best, it feels like, but now they just gotta get those early stops. Tower control ship shape really determined by these checkpoints, especially that second one, such a big one to break through. It's now a matter of who's going to be able to get even to this first checkpoint, who's going to be able to break this, because we haven't really gone into any big offense here in these first 90 seconds.
Yeah, we kind of talked about how passive the Cream Corn comp is going to be with double backliner, and you're seeing it there, where they will find the picks, but they're kind of really reliant on the brush to go in. Unfortunately, loses 2 there, but you're kind of really reliant on your backliners to hold that space and kind of get value in the background before you can really move forward. Whereas UCAD, they're happy to get in your face, and it's forced Toscos all these specials out immediately, including the crab, which Toscos, you're just kind of firing blank. It really isn't getting anywhere.
Yeah, hasn't really been able to get very far indeed here. UCD at this first check. Gonna see if they're gonna be able to break it here, which would be pivotal for them in the long term. They are able to get this first check. Splashdown also coming out, and they're trying to see if they can get past the 50 here. 2 down also from Cream Corn briefly. And you're trying to see if they're gonna be able to get anything going as Splatoon White does lose 2 down. And this is an interesting spot to be in here. About halfway through this game, and even though UCD has the lead, it doesn't feel like it's a big enough thing to really be comfortable.
No, I wouldn't, especially with the Luna now back where kind of verticality matters. I do think you really are in a bit of a tough spot. Like you said, 2 minutes, 2.5 is enough time to get something done. But with how quickly these teams are trading 1 and 2, and Nito coming out the best out of them we've seen there, it is hard to follow this up. Gets the 1 more. It forces the wipeout, but that's enough for Cream Corn now to kind of get into a setup position. Like I said earlier, they're a passive team. They want to be playing these double backliners to be set up, and now they're able to do so. So they might actually push into this 54 number.
Yeah, having that crab tank especially adding some long range as well as some extra firepower there, a lot more DPS now. They are able to take the lead here, and this is where Creamcorn especially is going to be great. And Toast goes hitting that shot. You pick Charger for a reason because you have the confidence to take those shots and able to execute nicely already at that 28 at the second checkpoint. And it's going to matter of can they break this through? Because if they're able to do so, this is such a dagger here, especially in these last 90 seconds.
And Pampers just doesn't have the range on the Luna to really kind of force that out, so it looks like Creamcorn does get the checkpoint, at least for the moment, but they eventually have to give it up. They don't really have the way, but I love how Pampers has been playing. They've been playing aggressive. They've been trying to put so much pressure using that blaster on the car on these high grounds, but it's been so, it just unfortunately just gets shut down consistently last minute here, and I think anything's in the air, Spicy.
Yeah, anything really is up for grabs at this point here. Last minute to go. 60 seconds can be the difference here for Creamcorn to get 1 point on the board here. They go 3 down. UCD has a chance to respond. It's just Nito on the ink brush and nowhere to be seen either. This could be big here for UCD. They have some specials online, notably the splashdown here from the Empire is going to see actually gets hit down. And now it's just wishy-washy there on the tower. You see some jumps coming in. Nito and a lot of them are just good. And that's such a wipe on, and that's such a great hold on defense here for Creamcorn.
Yeah, Pampers went deep trying to try to make a play, maybe get an early pick, but just unfortunately couldn't. So now with Creamcorn in control at 20 seconds, again, they're just going to keep, forward. They're going to keep this forward presence. They have control of these lower grounds.
4 specials online.
4 specials online. I mean, the pick does not help them, but they have the specials to balance this out. They don't even need to push. They can just hold this at mid.
They really can't hear, and they have the double backline still ready. Those are the ones who are up, and as I say that, looks like Ghost is going to be able to get shut down, though, but here we are. UCD, they have 2 specials. They have 1 more shot. They have the tower, and they're moving on 4. Pampers is closing in on all the space. They're trying to make a great distraction here for the rest of the tower to be moving. Splashdown coming out, and it is going to be enough to at least push the other members of Creamcorn away. The tower is now being moved. There's 3 down. It's a big-time shots now from the side of Creamcorn. Can they hold on defense, or is UCD just able to steal it at the end?
That's what happens, though, when you have a very passive comp like that. If you aren't set up and stable, if you get kind of thrown off by a more aggressive comp, you don't have the space for your backliners to make shots. Unfortunately, the game kind of falls apart, and it didn't for a long time, but UCD just a great recognition of, look, we can, if we give them and we pressure, if Pampers goes deep and really kind of keeps it up, we don't really need to win outright. I mean, even the committal of these, just look at how far it forced Left Twix out of the way into a pick from Pampers. Beautifully done. Just throwing the rest of those specials in, just denying that, again, denying the ability to approach this. There's not a single player from Creamcorn in sight because they were all just denied the space from those ultimates. Beautiful choice selection from UCD White, a well-deserved 3-0. But man, that scoreline does not really tell you how this map went.
Like, this is the epitome of, it was 3-0, but it was close. Like, each and every game was actually incredibly close. So we're talking, like, single digits for the most part, which is, like, absolutely insane. They really just see, like, 1 push really could have been the difference from both of these teams here. And UCD, great showing. Creamcorn, this is admittedly one of the best, like, 0-3s I've ever seen from a team. Yeah. Just being able to, like, how every game felt very winnable on their end. A lot of these games just came down to like those last few seconds. Have something goes differently, they could have just won 3-0. This could have been a very different set. But hey, congrats to both of these squads.
Yeah, it's still not out. There's still plenty of games to be played, and unfortunately, Creamcorn goes down to the 1-1. And well, UCD, they're gonna keep going in the 2-0 spot, but there's still, like I said, there's still a lot more games. So it's very possible we see, once we get to these divisions, once these divisions kind of balance out and we see the separations, it's very possible we see them kind of match up again down the line. I wouldn't be shocked if this is a rematch in the future.
I'd be very excited this is a rematch in the future because you saw how like both of these teams were approaching this game and how close all of this was, especially with the amount of players on like Creamcorn. Especially you think about it, maybe like one of their players is maybe what is then available today. We go to a different week, we go to like the finals or anything like that too, and you never know. Like, this could be a very different matchup in the future. That's just kind of the beauty of this format. Really able to see just on this day, sure, it was UCD who wins, but hey, maybe in the future, Creamcorn comes out on top.
Maybe, maybe not, but either way, we'll give those players a chance to take a break and give us a break as well. We'll be back in a minute with Game 3 here at IPL in just a moment.
And we're wrapping up IPL action here for CCA Qualifier 2 with another matchup. We got USF White, University of South Florida, against Oklahoma from the University of Oklahoma. My name's Spicy, once again joined here by Sove. How are we doing going into this last round of Swiss?
It's an interesting. It's interesting to see this all pile out back here down in Div 4, actually, Spicy, because Oklahoma, who, you know, I don't know that I've seen a lot of the Oklahoma teams. I think I've seen them in the play versus a little bit in the high school level, so I know there's talent out there. But 2-0 currently, one both 5-1, so they're on a pretty solid record. But with USF coming in with one round on a bye, I don't know that we really understand the full power of USF. They did lose their first game 0-3, but that could have been a very difficult opponent. So I don't know that we really have an understanding of how this could play out. We know that Oklahoma is definitely a very strong team, but maybe USF is just kind of stronger and never really gotten the chance to show it. Well, this is going to be a very interesting game.
Yeah, it's quite possible. USF White lost to Tamu Black, Texas A&M, and Tamu has yet to lose a round in any of Swiss today. So for all we know, maybe the break is all USF needs to reset, be ready for this Oklahoma matchup. And I know Oklahoma as a program, they've gone through multiple Splatoon teams, and I'm pretty sure this roster now is very different from when I used to play against them. So this could be interesting on both sides. Going into Urshan Underpass, though, for Splat Zone's Game 1, it could be interesting to see as we are already rolling on in for this.
I was going to say, it would be very easy just to look and guess and say, oh, we're probably going to see some meta things, but we haven't really seen a ton of that. S-Blast is a good pick. I do like it with the verticality here, but Nautilus is a very, very interesting pick. The ability to kind of play your midline a little bit up more aggressive is very good. Very interesting picks from both sides.
Yeah, Oklahoma's comp immediately stands out as being one of the most aggressive comps I think I've seen in a long time. Double dualies, ink brush, and not is you're going to be your long range weapon of sorts here. If their offense works, could be a big thing here for Oklahoma, who's already closing in on a lot of space there from USF. Prince already moving on forward even further, and it's gonna make things difficult here for USF White. If they're able to get picks, nice. But Prince is just sharking on up here, just putting on so much pressure, and USF tries to struggle as Oklahoma mowing through these points.
Yep, both comps are very, quick, mid-range, aggressive comps, but with the Gallon kind of being your kind of mid to back line on the side of USF White, they really just haven't been able to play into aggressively. Look at that 2v1 there. Doc Savvy is just using these low grounds to their advantage to kind of just get value and push back. Even as the brush is pushing away in the 2v1, it doesn't matter what you throw at this point. Oklahoma just absolutely in dominant control here.
Yeah, and you see Prince just rolling around. They're going to get shut down in the process, but the splash is going to work out anyway here. And Oklahoma already at this 15 here. They look like they're going to be poised to just hold on here. USF White trying to make a last stand, last gasp, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. It is actually, and it's going to be more than enough here. They got a 3 down here onto Oklahoma as USF just holding on, able to keep this game going on.
I don't know about the committal of the tri-strikes there, but Madoc able to avoid it and maybe able to get that back. But like you had said, it's 75 points now on that penalty, so it's a long way to go. But Oklahoma's quick to get back. Still recognizing one in the background. Madoc finally gets punished, but I mean the trades are still coming in now with USF White in a position. Now this Blaster and the Gallon can start holding down these kind of lower grounds and should be able to put the aggressiveness of Oklahoma into their position.
Yeah, this could be interesting now because you see this dynamic where USF has that more range option, not a ton of extra range, but they are able to kind of hold on this defense longer. They can kind of force Oklahoma to really play uber aggressive, and as a result, Oklahoma going 3 down in the process, and as the momentum has shifted entirely here, USF White with no penalty has been able to just roll through these points here, and the bubble is positioned so aggressively here. Oklahoma has to figure out a way just to get into the zone, and you see the strikes just being used on defense in such a great way here. Oklahoma now with the chance for the last gasp. They're trying to see if they can hold this, and it'd be such a big flip. 2 down from the side of USF, and Oklahoma holds on. They still maintain the lead.
Beautifully done now as the penalties are basically another timer here with 2 minutes left to go. Both teams need to win multiple fights. And now the Oklahoma, again, this very aggressive comp. They have the angles, they have the position. They're going to get in. Prince goes and rolls. It gets immediately focused out. USF White, it seems like their communication just kind of picked up. It seems like they're communicating a lot better after the initial shell shock from the Oklahoma.
Definitely, yeah. And you're seeing that USF was able to respond nicely. They're trying to fight for the zone one more time here. They have another special online able to do so here. The bubble is now positioned over the zone, not entirely over it, but it's now going to be getting almost shredded with along with the rest of USF. Oklahoma now has the opportunity to just make something else happen here and kind of just see if they can work their way through this pen.
It's tough to do so, though, because now the numbers don't favor them. That pick, again, pushes the brush out. Bomb is going to get something well. It's going to be met. And yes, I do just absolutely just ran in and just decided that they are going to be the protagonist now. The point will go back to USF, but again, now we haven't really, nothing's really changed. We're just, the numbers are slightly less here, Spicy, so still a lot of work from both sides to turn anything in this.
Yeah, it looked like at both points, each team had a chance to just get the knockout punch, and now it's not really sure who's going to have it. The individual points are basically 10 and less, but the timers, they're just keep getting added on. We're less than a minute into this game after it looked like Oklahoma had a chance to get an early knockout, but anything can still happen here. Still a lot of time thanks to these timers. You see the Booyah Bomb being thrown out from the side of USF. Seto gets shut down here in this process. It's Reaper and the rest of Oklahoma trying to hold on strong here and see if they can finally shut the door on this game.
Tri-Strike's up. They're going to immediately go in from the side of USF White. I mean, no real push to follow it in, but the 2v1, Prince immediately, that aggressive, just gets punished for it, and this is exactly what USF White needs. Now they'll get control, and they still have so much work to do, but now they can firmly just win these. Look at this 2v1. They're ready to push right in. Maydonk gets immediately punished, and now the space favors them. This is exactly what this fight has been the whole match. It's just who is actually controlling. We're back to fundamentals to think who controls the space.
Yeah, and all those fundamentals are so big as Oklahoma's able to get the pick, and with the control of the zone and the timer ticking down, this should be it as Oklahoma gets game one. And this game admittedly went a lot longer than I thought it was going to after the hot start that Oklahoma got.
Yeah, I was about to say Oklahoma absolutely showing us why they are 2-0 and why they are trying to get themselves out of the circuit section, but USF White, I kind of, admittingly, I kind of said it half-heartedly, being like, well, we don't really know. Maybe USF just, I didn't believe in myself. I actually do believe USF is a very strong team now after seeing that performance. If you come up against an undefeated team like that and put up a performance like that, yeah, your game one must have been very brutal to keep it this close and to look like that good of a team. So game two at Scorch Gorge here, definitely still up in the air because now we have to change a lot of what happens. This is a much wider map in a much more calculated mode of clams. So now we're really going to see who is kind of the more team play based organization here.
I would agree with that statement there because Oklahoma is I feel like their biggest strength, especially as we saw in game one, when they have that advantage state, when they're able to just put the pressure on, makes it so easy for them to just score those points. Clam Blitz is a lot harder to do that though because you can get the basket open. I feel like they're going to have an easier enough chance to get that. They feel like they have enough speed to do so, but I'm wondering if they're going to have enough to really just keep the basket open. USF White, I feel like it's been a little bit more calculated. They have a bit more of a balanced approach to this. Could see them doing well here going into this game too, but what a statement really from both of these teams. I want to give a big shout out from both of them just because it really felt like we could have had a knockout multiple times from either side, and the ability to just get that flip, that's so important here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I straight up thought Oklahoma was just going to dominate. USF just swung right back and took most of it. I thought we were just going to be telling a different story, but now we get to look at both of these teams in a much deeper context. And remember, this is crazy because this is Div 4. This is that point where you can kind of win on, mechanics can carry you a long way in this division where if you're just good, and we're seeing that in Oklahoma. Prince, was able to get 2 or 3 in a row simply just from able to controlling the rolls on the dualies and able to win those fights on mechanics. But this is that kind of point where not just mechanics can carry you, team play does have to come in. So let's see what both of these teams decide to do. And I have to imagine there's going to be some changes. I can't assume Oklahoma is going to play this very aggressive comp again. I don't know that you can escape with that, not without having some sort of special to back it up, like a hammer or even a Booyah Bomb to really kind of play into that. Because of how much space you need to be able to control to get to the baskets, I don't imagine Oklahoma just runs it back. I can't see that working.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what Oklahoma historically has done, but like
you said, different team.
Even now it's different team and all that still. It's it feels very different from what I'm used to seeing from them, and to see that flat out aggressive comp, you don't see that really at any level of play right now. And it's it's interesting to see this, and I'm so curious to see how it works, especially for Clan Blitz, or are they even going to have like a wildly different approach? Because I've seen this from teams before, and I feel like especially at like the lower levels in Collegiate, you will see that teams are much more inclined to play something they're comfortable on, kind of just go on what's feeling good in the moment. So maybe it's like, okay, for Splatoons that makes sense, but hey, maybe for Clan we'll switch it up. Maybe we'll see some player swaps too. You really never know here.
Yeah, well, cause like kind of like you said, like this is one of those cases where like what's comfortable may not always work. This is kind of one of those places where like sometimes the comfortable thing is just to run that set play that you know. Sometimes it's just, you know, slam that bubble down and play defensive to get a jump in. You know, we used to see it all the time back in, you know, what feels like an eternity ago with the giant squid. We used to see that all the time. So like maybe there is a little bit of comfort in some of those set plays. So then we'll have to look at, you know, okay, who's reading those set plays and who's setting themselves up for it. But teams, you know, look, teams are taking their time getting ready, and I don't blame them. This is a very, very close match, and USF has everything to prove coming into this.
Definitely, yeah. I think one thing USF can really start to make a lot of big moves on, really put a big statement on, if they can like just out tactic Oklahoma here, because like we mentioned that Oklahoma really does have like the mechanical advantage, at least at a first glance it does, because you saw how many picks went their way, how well they were doing in that fighting. USF, I think, is going to have to approach that to see if they're going to be able to, especially in Clan Blitz, if they're going to be able to come up with those plays, come up with those plans. I wouldn't be surprised if we're taking a while just to think about, like, what are we going to do to approach this basket? What are we going to do to at least try and slow Oklahoma down? How are we going to keep this basket open just to get those extra points in? So a matter of, like, big pushes, I feel, in Clan Blitz have typically been the ways most teams have been able to get these wins, rather than, like, we'll just throw it in, we'll get a couple of clams in. They'd rather see like those big plays here, especially against a team like Oklahoma, who will try and figure out multiple ways to get to that basket. If USF can just like get big pushes, kind of just play defense and like just out tactic Oklahoma, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up going to game 3 and it's like tied 1 apiece.
I mean, you say that, but I also wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma did just try to nickel and dime them. Like it would be, I wouldn't call that unlikely if we're just gonna let Prince try to go on hero plays, get it in, and then just let the timer run out. Because if you can technically get a win by just, you know, playing so aggressive that they can't get a power clam, if you just deny them that kind of economy and just hold that space as aggressively as you can, there's technically a path to success there. I don't know that it's the best, and I don't know that it'll work. But if any team feels like they're going to try to take a stab at that and make it work, it feels like it would be this Oklahoma squad.
Yeah, conceptually, it just feels very in line with what Oklahoma was doing in Game 1. So I wouldn't be surprised at all, actually, if they rock something similar to that. We are finally going into this Game 2, though. So curious to see what do we have cooking from both of these squads. No subs were made as well, player-wise. And you get a chance to look at these opening comps. You see the Octobrush coming out now, and that's an interesting swap here. Meanwhile, it looks like, beside Oklahoma, very similar stuff on their squad.
Yeah, no real changes for that. They did bring in a bubble, which makes sense for Prince. They swapped over to one of those other dualies, but man, USF White's comp is very fascinating. That's also a very aggressive comp. You have a brush and you have a decapitator. Those are both very in your face, and you see it right there. Like they're just saying, look, we are happy to play in your face. If this is what you want to do, we will get right back in your face and we will swing too.
Yeah, and it's just trying to play right up in your face here. Both these teams trying to opt to play so aggressive and kind of just like in your face. Not something you always see in Clam. Like you're also going to see the great use of the specials here from USF. 3 down briefly from the side of Oklahoma. USF trying to make their way towards the basket. They don't have the power clam ready yet. Maybe trying to see if there's going to be a couple passes up there. Maybe get that basket open, but you see them positioned at least nicely enough to see if they can finally break through, get that basket. 2 down up on the side of USF, though, and big plays as multiple people going down for both sides.
Docs returning the 2K from Yes I Do there is very big. It was a great just play, again, just acknowledging, look, I can trade at least 1 2, and that's good. Still no, again, that was the kind of aggression I was afraid of out of Oklahoma, but USF White doing it instead. You send in those specials, you try to go into it, and you try to push, but you just don't have a clam ready. This is a very timing-specific game, so maybe pulling trigger a little too quickly there.
Yeah, Clan Blitz especially is so much emphasis on the timing here. Oklahoma doing such a great job of just shutting down the back line that USF had. Reaper is positioned so nicely, able to avoid that suction bomb from getting the pick there as well. And you see them just trying to shark around, just get anything else, just be such a menace there for the side of USF, as really not either team able to really put any big offensive push here. You see Docs once again, we see the little bit of the flank going towards the basket, and it's not gonna be a connection there, not able to get that score.
There's no clam. We're pushing to the basket with nothing though. Like they miss it. They had the one clam, not really much else behind it, and they unfortunately just missed the basket. So now we're back to the drawing board with 3 minutes on the clock. This has been it feels like this has just been a game of misfires, unfortunately, for both teams.
Yeah, it's like you can see what these teams are trying to do here. It's the execution just hasn't been cleaned up to that point yet here. And it's so close, it's so tight where you're seeing the Oklahoma's just trying to like force it in almost. Just trying to outspeed all of USF's plays. They are able to get some value out of it though here, and now it's a matter of can they at least get towards this basket. You saw some interesting set plays, just trying to flank around there as well, but now with USF just kind of holding at this point, you see the member on the grates there as well. Bubble is positioned very aggressively, but now can Oklahoma get the score in one more time, and it's just the brush up.
No, no, that was a good attempt, but two specials given in and kind of already got spotted out. They tried to set up a play where they jumped from the bridge over, but now we're pushing back on USF White. Power claims up, Silver gets it in. That's exactly something. Again, we were wondering how close this was going to be. The grace of the bubble, yes I do, good for 2. Not quite able to get any more. I don't think there's going to be more. Yeah, that's a wipeout, but this is that nickel and diming we were looking at, right? It's just, they're not going to let them get any seconds in, just like you said, Spicy, and now with 2 power claims up for Oklahoma, they have the chance to swing it back here, but again, they can't rush these plays. They have to go in calculated.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate there. Dots, I feel like, was the big player here to potentially make a push. Inkbrush should get so much value here on Clamblitz just for the mobility side of it, but not able to capitalize. 90 seconds left to go. You still see that Oklahoma has that power clam ready, and it's in mid. You're just trying to see what they're going to be able to do here. They have the buffed rain to maybe make something else happen here. 2 power clams now making their way towards that basket. One is going to be able to connect here. Can they get the second in? Try to get that one in, and multiple players going down for the side of USF, and that's a wipe, and that's going to be able to get the lead here too.
That's a huge play from Maydonk there, just acknowledging, look, my frontliners aren't doing work. We're just going to go ahead and in. You called it. They were going to be looking for a big push. It's Oklahoma with the big push instead. Still trying to keep this open at 30. But the damage is done. We're less than a minute. 7 is the magic number. A late bunch of clams getting in there, and the wipeout finally stops the bleeding. Oklahoma, though, I mean, that's as good as a win to me. I don't think USF White, they need a miracle to get this through. They need at least, what, 3-4 clams if they're going to do this. They need so many more points in under this minute. It's a miracle play time.
Yeah, you have to almost knock out here if you are USF to go into game 3 tied 1 apiece. You see the Kraken come through now. Not exactly what you're looking for at this moment. Trying to see if it's going to at least get some picks off here. You see the numbers advantage has leaned USF. A couple of picks now on the board. But now it's a matter of can they get the clams at least just to really put some extra pressure here. 10 seconds roughly in regulation. We know overtime's at least going to be a factor.
I don't know how much it will be, though. It might just be until Oklahoma gets the pick, because no specials are up yet, but everything is going to be coming online in just a second. And again, USF White, they need so much more. They have 14 in the clams, and they're again committing specials early. I'm not crazy about that, Spicy, but they've got the chance. They have to go now.
Oh yeah, and yes I do, is gonna get wiped out. Yeah, you saw the idea from the side of USF, just didn't have the numbers to do so. Oklahoma is gonna be able to hold on defense there, and what a game overall. You saw that Oklahoma kind of like had so many more opportunities to get those plays, get the points there. It didn't go until the very end, and USF was able to get the early lead, but shout out to Oklahoma. At least the offense and the aggression did pay off in the end, especially just the clam economy. Like you look at it so much. I felt like all the clams were in Oklahoma's like possession.
Oh yeah, they absolutely just controlled that state, and this is that big scoring play right there. You'll see it. One, they send in that extra cloud, but look at just everybody. Prince just leading the way, going in and buying the space for Maydonk to go in and clear the rest of it out. They get the rest with those mines, because they had, mind you, you blink and you miss it. They dropped mines while they were in there to make sure they could get it, catch it on the second replay. But just great acknowledgement of like the state of the game right there, to acknowledge, look, there's one left. We have the numbers. We have to go. Even if it takes the whole team to sacrifice to get it, this is what you need from your back and your midliner to be able to do, just to come in and be able to kind of get, clean up on a map like a map mode like this, where your midliner has to come in and kind of salvage the day. So kudos to Oklahoma for taking the set in a 2-0. But game 3, Rainmaker, Mincemeat, I don't think it's an easy 3-0 for Oklahoma here. I think this is going to go back and forth, kind of like we saw in Game 1.
I could see it too, especially because going into mincemeat, which traditionally has been like a CCA thing, just to see mincemeat overall. Rainmaker mincemeat is just such a wild card map mode selection. You don't see this, I want to say, really anywhere outside of CCA. But like if you're USF, especially knowing that you've ran into like 2 juggernauts of teams in your Swiss, which is just really unfortunate. But they still had the potential to maybe make something happen here. Rainmaker mincemeat isn't something you're really planned for here necessarily, but maybe this is exactly what USF is looking for here. I wouldn't be surprised to see some other options being brought out here too, because we know that Oklahoma has been rocking some fairly similar comps. USF has had a couple more bigger adjustments. I'm really curious what goes into now mincemeat for Rainmaker.
Yeah, it's funny because from what we've seen, I want to give the initial looks like Oklahoma, because they've been playing this very aggressive comp in a very aggressive mode like Rainmaker, where you want to have 2 or 3 of your guys up, taking space for your Nautilus to carry and just kind of, just casually meander their way into these checkpoints. Like, it kind of on paper looks like it might go their way, but we did see a lot of good backliners out of USF White. Like, we saw some very strong moments, so I wouldn't be shocked if we saw, maybe not the pencil. I know we saw the splatling out the back. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw it again, just simply because of the, the sightlines it can control.
You see the Wiper being brought in, an E-leader. Oh,
wait, Prince on the E-leader. Excuse me.
That is
going on here?
Swap. Like, that is such
That's
drastic swap, going from dualies to E-leader. There's now a E-leader here from the side of Oklahoma. I'm stunned just seeing this, because I had a feeling we're gonna see fairly similar stuff from Oklahoma, but the Prince E-leader, no one was expecting.
I mean, if you got somebody that can play the leader, like this is the mode where you need it, right? This is where you need this kind of long range. You can shut down so much from just sitting back there, but Prince is the one who's going to get under the pressure, has to jump out. Yeah, I mean, if you're Oklahoma, like, even if he loses, you're not too worried, but I mean, I'm curious to see what Prince does, because unfortunately for them, USF White, like you said, this is exactly everything they wanted out of it. They have almost everything going their way with this double frontline comp.
Yeah, I like the Wiper swap here from Yes I Do as well. Just being able to have the Torp as well as the Hammer to maybe make something happen here. 3 down, as I say it though, from the side of USF. Not really able to move the greats. One of the things about mincemeat, just so hard to move sometimes, especially with Rainmaker, when you have those greats, nowhere to swim, and you're forced to walk in such a vulnerable section, as Oklahoma has been able to respond nicely, at least on the defensive end.
Yeah, again, with that E-leader in the back, Oklahoma now wants to be the one to set up and kind of control these. You'll see that Maydonk is kind of setting up, pushing past the midpoint, just to maybe kind of be a buffer for Prince right now. So it's going to be so hard for this USF White squad to push through, because you're not playing through two layers. You're playing through 3 of this line.
Definitely here, yeah. You're trying to see what else is going to be happening as Oklahoma making their push, or a big pick there from Prince there as well to offer that extra support towards their players who are making that push there all across the greats as well. Not easy to do, but to have that long range option there just makes it so much easier. Prince also able to stay alive from that Booyah Bomb coming through, is able to just move on through, see what else is going to happen. No checkpoint has been broken yet through after the first 2 minutes, still quite a lot of time, but USF White, 2 down is not what you want to be seeing. 3 down, wow.
That's basically a wipe too, yeah. I'd say USF White is having such a problem dislodging Prince, this double back, this like back and midliner. They're just struggling to kind of get it there because they step out of the way into the line of sights, they just get picked. Oklahoma still fights back, but USF White, they swing. They have it, they get the stop. They need to kind of, again, take this space. They need to deny Prince the ability to get set up here. Yes, I do. He's trying to do just that, but immediately gets bullied out. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and you see the rest of Oklahoma just doing such a great job, especially now on defense here. They understand how difficult it is to really push on Rainmaker mincemeat with all the hazards and all the greats and how limited movement really is on here. But able to just hold on defense despite not having check has been really impressive so far on their end. USF now trying to see if they have any other options, any other responses. Their brush goes down in the process here as Oklahoma finally, never mind, is not able to get towards the checkpoint. They've been trying so hard, but now it's just Prince alive here with that E-leader.
I mean, yeah, but Prince is just going to give it up the space. And again, USF White continues to commit these specials maybe a little bit too early. You wanted to try to force Prince out of that positioning, but you don't have the way to capitalize on it. So maybe, again, a little bit too quick on the trigger. Just take the right path. You have it there. Go. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Love that.
Great read.
Yeah, I love
Great
that
read.
here from USF.
Beautiful.
Because
read.
right checkpoint just so much easier. I feel to push there as well. You don't have to worry about those left grades, and now you have the numbers advantage here too. And now you have like arguably an easier option just to go up through these slopes here. You have the paint, which is so powerful here too. Have the numbers, and you see it's just the dapple here from the side of Oklahoma. USF White, they're trying to just break this bubble here. They're going to get away from this rain here too. The numbers advantage is in their favor here. As you see, Zooms is now able to just push on up. Prince now being pushed so far back as well. The rest of Oklahoma, we're already at the USF 19. Silver going to get shut down there, but big lead here now from USF with about a minute to go.
Oh, Prince didn't see it coming. That's exactly what you wanted from USF White. You wanted to just kind of get them in a position where they're dislodged. There's not the backline set up. And even if you don't get the clear, even if you don't get the full 100, like, this is fine. You've kind of done everything you needed to do. You have a 19-point win con, and you're kind of forcing Oklahoma to go, okay, well, like, now you have to get this checkpoint and further than we are. We've set the boundary. I was like, good stop. I was like, somebody has to make the stop, though. You can't just let them walk in because that's too easy.
Yeah, that was a interesting option there from Oklahoma. It was just the Rainmaker really pushing alone, which is typically ill-advised, and there you see why, because they're not able to just go there through with no real anywhere to protect them. But interesting options here. 15 seconds to go. Oklahoma has to get the checkpoint and more to even get anything here if they want to win in a potential overtime situation. USF White's going to hold here with the Rainmaker. As long as they don't get splattered out, this should be enough here. If they get splattered out, though, this at least triggers the overtime situation here. Maydonk is going to get splattered there, too. It's around just a rush to who picks it up here. It looks like USF White should be able to do so here, get this win, and get on the board here, and it ends the set 1-2.
Beautifully done from them. Just again, this is the kind of team and like the general set. When I talk about it, it's like they just acknowledge, look, we have a lead. It doesn't matter where we really keep the Rainmaker in this last segment. We just need to keep it out of their hands or put them in a place where it's just so punishing for them to try to get to it. And that's what they did. They just said, all right, cool. You have to come all the way back past the pedestal, turn your back to what everything is going on. You have to look in this corner and just kind of say, all right, if you want it this badly and you want to win, you have to get through us. By the way, you can't see us coming where we're from. So just great acknowledgement, whether it was intentional or not, just great positioning of that Rainmaker and kind of overall awareness for that. A well-deserved win. Again, like we'd kind of talked about in earlier maps, a couple things go differently. This is a whole different game. So I think USF, even, going into future qualifiers, future events, don't write this team off. There's a great core here that understands how to play the game and how to like manipulate the map. They are very good at what they do. Like you'd said earlier, though, they just come up against some also equally incredible teams.
Yeah, they came up against the two best teams in their group, which is not easy to go against. And like TMU Black, amazing. Oklahoma has been amazing. To get a win on either of them is really impressive here too. And it's big, especially in this format where each and every individual game matters. Each win there is points. So USF, great showing from them. Oklahoma also getting some extra points on the board. Each team going away happy with a little bit more here. Real interesting stuff here from both squads.
Yeah, this day of qualifiers has been just kind of insane in the big picture. We're thankfully halfway done. There's still plenty more to come, but what an incredible day from all of these teams across all divisions. Like, we've seen some phenomenal play. All of these young players are just continue to grow with every event. They continue to get better and push Splatoon to be a better game. It's crazy.
Yeah, one of the beautiful things here, we got a lot more Splatoon action coming on up. Top Cut takes place not too long after this across all divisions, and I believe we have Division 5 here on IPL, Division 1 on CCA, if I remember right, something along those lines. So interesting stuff really from both, Division 1 here on IPL. So gonna be a great time just to get into that. But before we take our break, so always a pleasure commentating with you. Do you have anything you want to plug, anything you want to say for the audience here?
No, just keep supporting Collegiate, keep supporting Splatoon, and keep supporting all of the incredible staff, casters, commentators, observers. Just keep supporting everybody. We all need each other, so give the follow, give the like, jump into streams when you can. We all need it to make our scene bigger and better.
Yep. Well said, well said. Make sure you have a tab up for CCA and keep the tab up here for IPL as well. We'll be back shortly with a new set of commentators for Top Cut.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CCA Circuit Qualifier 2. We are now in Top Cut, covering Division 1. I am DRF, joined by the one and only Shiny Pikmin. If you couldn't tell the Pikmin part, with everything that is going on your end, Shiny.
Yes, indeed, David. I'm so excited to be here. I just realized that I actually am not looking at the screen here, so I should probably get that pulled up.
That was also Neptune was like, our producer on the back end today was like, all right, you guys are good when the transition's live, and I was like, oh, it probably helps if I have the screen up so I can know when the transition's done. So if I was like staring into your soul for a couple seconds there without actually saying anything, that's exactly why. But nonetheless,
yes,
we are going to be starting off top 16 with a fun matchup for you all. GT Gold going to be taking on Daybreak. This is Georgia Tech versus UT Austin. Two teams that, if you're actually a fan of college football, two teams that have had really interesting starts to the season with really strong teams that have been a little bit all over the place, let's say that, on the football side of things. But now with the Splatoon side of things, two teams that, again, retool their roster. GT Gold, brand new to the CCA. So I'm excited to see how these two teams match up.
me too. You're talking about football, you're talking about Splatoon. I'm getting mixed up seeing what we have here. But looking at these weapon comps coming out here, we're seeing quite the aggressive setup here, David. I'm liking the ballpoint, the CRB. That's a normal range blaster. We got, wow, these are comps that you'd see from like the first year plus like the fourth year Splatoon mixed together. This is very interesting, David.
It is. I'm glad that you mentioned just how aggressive these comps are, because the ballpoint really is as aggressive of a backbite as you can get at times. As we see Windbreak popping out that inkjet, bringing out the aggression that is that comes with this ballpoint weapon. And it seems like that this is really just going to kind of be a bit of a run and gun comp for both of these squads.
Yeah, it is. And an interesting strat that I'm seeing out right now here. Daybreak over here looking to get their first push off, breaking the first checkpoint. But they took the fight on the wrong side of the map, in my opinion, David. They should have been fighting for that left side there. Kind of like how we see GT Gold doing right now. But then unfortunately, 2 down here. 3 down, and Daybreak takes takes the advantage at a pseudo wipeout. And it looks like the momentum is swinging in their favor, David.
Absolutely. It's going to be Daybreak rolling through right now. Able to find one is going to be that range blaster. Not going to be able to find any more on top of that. But most importantly, it's the second checkpoint that falls Shiny. 2 members of GT Gold trying to set up that left flank. But Breakdown all the way up on the flat. Going to slow down any effort to try to get back control of this tower. And Shiny, it seems like this whole fight is taking place away from the tower now.
We said aggression, and aggression we are getting. Oh, just getting my blood pumping. But now we see GT Gold manage to get the 2 down there and pushing back in the mid. I need to see more fighting happening on that left side there. The missiles coming out, clearing out that right side, which is pretty decent. But so far, a lot of specials have been used to get back in the mid. While they do have 2 down, can we make it 3 down over here on Breaking Bad? Yeah, the ballpoint does go down. And with just the dread up and the other players responding here, GT Gold pushing to just the first checkpoint.
All right, this is going to be their opportunity to retaliate here. They haven't had a good look with the tower just yet, but in the matter of less than a minute, suddenly it's now GT Gold that's working on this second checkpoint. And they are finding a couple of nice picks here. They're trying to use this Inkjet Daybreak to push out the members of GT Gold, but haven't found much success there. A little bit of trading here, back and forth. 2 members down on either side, and now this second checkpoint being actively worked on, but Daybreak doing a great job here of slowing down the momentum, but they continue to stagger. Shiny, what is Daybreak gonna have to do if they want to hold on to this lead?
Oh, they're gonna have to either send it with specials or just a coordinated attack. The worst thing that they can do right now, DRF, is they can speed, going down 1 by 1 here. As you can see, GT Gold is doing a wonderful job of like getting space, backing up, taking a pick, getting space, backing up, taking a pick here. And now this now we see actual coordinated assault coming out of here from Daybreak, getting 3 down here from GT Gold. Kind of what we just saw happen there is exactly what I said. They all kind of came at them as 4. GT Gold tried to back up and give space, but Daybreak said, no, we're not going to take that happening there. And with a wonderful rotate over here, as you can see here, avoiding some very, very nice, would-be picks come from GT Gold here. We see, Daybreak here continues to hold their lead, and even get 2 down as well with this chaos happening around them here, David.
Ooh, and that's 3 down, making a delayed wipe. A nice little jump out to get right back on the tower. That little finesse there out of Icebreaker.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that. And I also am just realizing that every member of Daybreak has break in their name, which, you know what? That checks out.
Icebreaker, breaks down, win break, and break win? That would be kind of funny if that was the case, but I don't think it is. Okay, this is what we love to see if we're fans of Daybreak here. 1 down on the decaf. That decaf was not cooler, coming back here fairly slowly here. Of course, 2 down here. We do see now 3 down from Daybreak as GT Gold pushes back in, and the cooler is up. We see a bubble is almost online coming out from our decaf there. And I do believe if there's any way that Gold can win this here, it's with that bubble on tower to push past that awkward span from the 2nd to the 3rd check there.
And now 30 seconds to play. It's going to be GT Gold with one more good opportunity here to take the lead late in this one. Solstice all the way up in the plat. Continues to poke the members of Daybreak. Specials coming out though out of Daybreak now to try to stop this tower in its tracks. A lot of pink paint around that tower, but it's 2 members going down on the side of Daybreak. GT Gold gonna find one more opportunity. The bubble is out, but they missed the tower. They fell off the tower to pop the bubble, and that's gonna spell disaster for GT Gold. They're gonna try to hold on to this though. 3 members on the side of Daybreak. GT Gold finds themselves in an opportune position to take the lead, and they are able to do so. A crazy scramble there in overtime. Somehow, some way, GT Gold finds a diamond in the rough.
So that is exactly what I called right there. That bubble was their key to victory. Also, before I even talk about that, actually, no, this is perfect here. One thing that you did say, though, you said that the bubble slipped off tower. I actually think that was probably the single best bubble they could do. That bubble being off tower means that it was not affected by the negative multiplier that bubble takes. Rather, bubble will take extra damage if it is placed on the tower. Specifically because it was placed off tower, it gave it the extra HP that they needed to hold on to that position, to scramble, to get back on tower. And with those extra 2 seconds that the bubble was able to hold not being on tower, it gave them that ability to regain their ground and get the picks necessary to take the lead. So I think that was an insanely good play under the just insane pressure that we saw coming out from GT Gold there, David.
And that's why I asked to bring you on, Shiny. So you make sense of the plays that the normies like me are gonna look at and be like, damn, that seemed like a missed opportunity. But you're here saying, no, that, even whether it was part of the plan or not, that was actually, maybe even better for what position they were in.
No, that means a lot there, David. And honestly, looking at the players here on the side of GT Gold, I recognize a lot of them too. In fact, some of them I've actually won tournaments with. So, keeping bias aside, I expect big things from these players, and they are showing up already. Again, the thing that separates good players from great players is being able to hold your own, being able to make the correct split-second decisions in those high-pressure situations. And just seeing, again, I'm going to harp on it so much, that single bubble was what won them the game. So I'm curious to see if we can see other members of GT Gold coming out big as they are up 1-0 in the set over Daybreak. Going into Zones Mahi, a map that is very, I don't want to say divisive. Speaking of divisive, actually, that's double inkjet coming out over here from GT Gold.
The double inkjet, double reef slider out of Daybreak. That is certainly a composition of specials that you never really see. The double reef slider on Splat Zones Mahi makes perfect sense. We see that all the time. But to pair that with the double inkjet, That is an experiment.
It is. I have seen several. Whoa! That was a good deep slider. Sorry. Using slider as a repositioning tool instead of an actual, like, taking a fight tool is something that I love to see. And I've already seen in the first 30 seconds here that the members of Daybreak know how to use slider to their full extent, not just zone cheese. So expect to see a lot of sliders, like, aimed at zone that'll actually go way deep into GT Gold's base to hopefully get a nice off angle there. But now with one down, Cooler up, and Bubble on zone, that should be a free take from GT Gold.
And they're going to start working on this lead here, trying to diminish it as much as possible, but they do go 3 down. So Daybreak back in control of the zone, despite the numbers disadvantage. It just seems like the members of GT Gold a little bit slow to get back into the action here. And now that Inkjet finding one, I think found a second there. And now GT Gold is just isolated. A couple of members found on some islands here. And that's going to result in a bit of a stagger here. But still, the numbers stay even. But it's Daybreak that feels like they have more control right now.
It's one big thing about the double slider is it cancels both the bubble, the missiles, and it just does such a good job of like harming, those long-range threats that we have here. Now, see, as I'm saying here, we now see 2 down from GT Gold. Slider coming out, missing the mark, but that's just fine as the timer quickly ticks down. All members of Daybreak are up if they just continue to keep hitting on the zone with this Aerospray ballpoint, which is, oh, and the Inkjet coming out here, the bubble up, is it enough there? It does, it could be enough! And with this scramble on zone, we see GT Gold just managing to take the lead as they all go down.
You know what?
Not lead, hold.
That is still, you're still in the game. That's the important thing for GT Gold right now. The fact that they managed to at least flip that zone, it took all 4 members sacrificing themselves to make it happen. But that's better than being back on the loading screen right now.
I would agree here. Now we see a nice punish out from that slider there. A 2 down from Daybreak. And as GT Gold pretty firmly takes the flip there, now 2 down. This is what I keep saying right now here, David. We're seeing just an overextension from GT Gold. They put themselves, there's a lot of volatile specials happening in this match here. The double Inkjet, double slider means that we have, great power, but also, we're able to be instantly punished like that here. So, GT Gold isn't really able to punish them as much as, they should be able to. Every time we see an advantage situation like this here, sure, they get 1 down or 2 down, but, I don't know. This is probably the best hold that they've had so far right now, David. I think that they need to use their specials properly here and get some key picks, really punish the overextension for both the Inkjets and the slider, as we see the sliders come out.
And I think that slider might have come out a little bit early, but the second slider's right on time to be able to neutralize that zone. But they now find themselves scrambling for their life, somehow living. Somehow the reinforcements come in right on cue. It's like they drew it up.
Oh, look at that. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. We didn't have that punish that we needed there. And between the Fizzy, the ballpoint, by the way, that's double Fizzy Bomb coming out from Daybreak as well with both the Aerospray and the ballpoint there. Slider coming out, just so much chip damage here, David. And, well, it doesn't seem like it's enough for this hold there. GT Gold still scrambling on. Again, they need the punish. They need to punish the overextension to the slider. The win cons are there. Destroy the sliders before they get in position. As we see the slider coming out right here. Will this be the punch that they need? Not on zone.
And,
what?
I don't know how they got the kill on top of that, because they split the 2 defenders there. They went right down the middle. And I thought for sure that was going to be a pinch opportunity, but instead they turned that into a trade. So not only did they get the ink advantage in their favor, they traded out in what could have been a situation that GT Gold could have capitalized on. And now they are on the cusp of a knockout shiny. And of course, with that +1, the minute you see that +1 come up on the penalty, that's instantly an extra point, as we all know. So they needed to get there maybe about a half second sooner to try to neutralize that zone.
I agree. The Daybreak comp, the more I actually got time to think about it while you were talking about it here, David. And if you look at the numbers, right? Daybreak's comp is all about numbers. Inkjet does a minimum of, I believe it's 30 damage with a 50 damage. It does 30, 50, 120. So 30 is the big number. Slider does a minimum of 70 damage, way far away. Dread does 42, 48. Fizzy Bomb does 35, 55. All of these numbers, there are so many different numbers on the team. We see here an indirect from the Inkjet, plus those Slider 70s
Wait, did that get
allow that.
3?
Yeah, it did. Just because the Inkjet was able to prime it so well. The Fizzy Bomb primes them so well. All of Daybreak's comp is all about hitting the chip damage. We see the crab get instantly eviscerated because of that. And one thing that I really love to see about this Daybreak comp here is it was all about chip damage. The double slider, barely any of them went on zone. I think maybe 3 of them went on zone total. It was all about nuking that massive 70 hitbox, just dropping that on the field. And then, oh, there's a stray 35 from a Fizzy Bomb. There's a stray 40 from a Dreadringer, a stray 35 from an Inkjet. And all of these numbers comboed so well that no matter where any member of Daybreak was, they would be able to combo with another player from genuinely halfway across the map with the amount of range and chip that they were able to put out. So a very fascinating comp. By the way, the indirect from a bomb from the L3 just 30 damage as well. So every single member had a part of their kit that can interact with a part of anybody else's kit. And that's fascinating. We'll see if they bring a very unique comp like that going forward. But I wouldn't expect coming out from Clam Blitz Inkblot, a map known for its stally mid. Let's see what happens here, David.
Well, they are going to change it up, that's for sure. But one thing is consistent, and that is the ballpoint and the dread out of Daybreak. Meanwhile, on the side of GT Gold, back to that composition that we saw in game number 1. So they're liking with what worked with them the first time around, and I definitely think that is going to be the right call out of GT Gold. The bring out the bubble, bring out the cooler. I think that this is going to be a great composition for them to stick with.
I agree. I just look at all the chip damage going down. Like, Windbreak didn't even hit, the L3 didn't even hit somebody with that Inkjet. And now we see another thing there. Boom, 3 hits there, another 3 down from GT Gold. Just what is that? The rapid in the spawn here. Getting constantly pelted, no way to paint their feet. And high breakdown is there in front of you. And that should be, whoa, that's 40-point score on Daybreak.
That is an explosive first push out of Daybreak, but I think that is going to be it. They're going to get the 2 power clams in, and the basket will close up. So, a good opening position here for Daybreak as we just passed the 1-minute mark into this game. GT Gold scrambling to get back paint control of mid. The Blast are going to find 1, but that's going to be a bit of an equal trade there, as one of their own does drop. A bit of a pinch opportunity here. That Dread's gonna find themselves going down as well. The Blaster against the Inkjet, that always spells disaster, but the Inkjet somehow finds one on the way back to spawn. I mean, Shiny, the way that these two teams are just trading back and forth right now is making for a very exciting opening half.
It really is. Each comp has a certain element that counters the other part of the comp there. So it's really about how can we use our comp elements correctly here. Goodbye, Solstice. I don't believe you're winning that fight. And with the missiles online, cooler out, missiles getting launched here, GT Gold is able to do a very good job of combating Daybreak's push there. And if Breaking Bad over here gets a pick, which they do, I believe Daybreak is just back in this as their specials are about to go up online. Oh, wait, there goes the ballpoint. They don't have an Inkjet. And then there goes the cooler option. Oh, things have turned around quickly as GT Gold makes a breakaway into their spawn. Dude, there goes the bomb. Oh, what are we seeing out here from this? No. Oh my God, David. What I'm trying to say here is that this is so volatile. The moment something's about to happen, wrong. We are back.
I do not envy our producer right now because it feels like there is 4 different fights happening at any given time on this map. There is a 1v1 on every corner of Inkblot Art Academy, and you kind of just have to pick one and hope that you're gonna get the most impactful action as Daybreak now, once again, scoring, brings it down to 37 remaining. A jump's gonna come in. Did they get that in time? Oh my goodness, I did not think that jump was remotely in time there. And now we're down to 8 points. They have the clams to knock this one out, but they're coming from their own plat at this point. So they're gonna have to go ahead and let this one be. 8 points remaining, a great place to be with 1:45 left on the clock, Shiny. But GT Gold We've seen it before. They were in this position in game number 1 on tower control undertow. They can certainly do it again, but what is it going to take to get there?
They need to win their fights. That's what was happening. Oh, hey, goodbye, Breaking Bad. Breakdown of their spawn. We need to see GT Gold win their fights. They're doing such a good job of getting themselves in just the right place, but unfortunately, they always end up going just one down at the worst moment. Speaking of right here, another one down at an unfortunate time here. This is an incredibly volatile game of Splatoon, and honestly, this is a great example of why I love this game so much, how quick, how fast it can go. But it's just these ones happening at the wrong time. They're without cooler. They get to a spot where they need to be, and then they suddenly lose all their momentum, David. And that's what I'm seeing here. Stray picks coming out, but we need to have 2 picks and staying alive from the side of GT Gold, and then we can see a push come out that would hopefully lead them into the lead.
45 seconds to play. Here comes an impactful fight here. Solstice does win that one out. They're going to rush forward. Pops out the bubble. The Reef Slider retaliates there. They find one. The Tri-Slosh, though, going to come in from behind and take them out. But it's GT Gold knocking on the door of the plat of Daybreak. Trying to make something happen here with 25 seconds to go. It's everybody up and standing right now. This next team fight could swing this, but GT Gold needs some clean fights to be able to turn this one around. But they're gonna trade 2 for 3 picks. I'm not sure if that's gonna be quite enough, because I think they needed to get at least one more person to stay alive there, but now they're gonna look to make their move. Tri-Slosher goes down on the side of Daybreak. Overtime kicking in now. Tacos continues to flirt with the basket. Not making their move quite yet, but the rest of the team goes down. The Reef Slider comes in, somehow survives it, finally gonna get taken out, and this one is in the book, Shiny, as Daybreak will survive game number 3 and advance to our top 8.
You said it so well, flirting. I saw Tacos going, hey, a little, tucking the hair behind the ear and being like, oh, what are you doing today? Talking about that basket, but it just wasn't enough. Exactly like you said here, we needed to see clean picks. Solstice did such an incredible job of breaking that ice upon Daybreak, but they need to get 3. They need to get 3 instead of 2. It was unfortunately just like that. They needed to get up there. We see especially at the top of the screen here, the decav is at 70, almost to a bubble there, but unfortunately goes down here. If that bubble went up, GT Gold needed anything to hold their position. Like we saw game 1, that's why it went so well, because they had those 2 seconds that they needed here. Whereas this game, Daybreak just, thrived in the chaos. That is their karma. That is their ability to just, be effective anywhere. So going forward, we need to see the members of GT Gold find a way to just get 2 seconds, to just stay alive, to just get 3 instead of 2. They need to find some way to hold their ground, take a breath, and then push off that. Exactly like we said happened in game 1 there, David.
And I like how you said it. They were thriving in the chaos because
Yes.
it felt like that both teams always had someone behind enemy lines every second of the game. Like anytime we turned to a different perspective, it was 2 members pinching on one of the opponents. And it didn't matter which team it was. I think Daybreak just found a few more of those opportunities and were able to capitalize on it a little bit more than GT Gold did. But hey, that's going to be the story for that one. Daybreak does move on. I believe they will be facing the UCF Knights. They will be playing UCF Knights in top 8. So, Shiny, we're already ready to move on, though, to our top 8 match here on stream. So, next up, best of 3 between MTSU Skyfall and UCSD Esports Gold.
So David, could you tell me a little bit about these teams here? Because as someone who's not as into the CCA, I want to know what are we expecting? Are we expecting the chaos that we saw last year? Are we expecting more coordinated assault here? I'm looking at these rosters here. I don't believe I recognize any names personally. I'd like to hear maybe your side of things here.
Well, the fact that you say you don't recognize Nerdy Adam is quite the shame. But
right, I literally fought them yesterday, actually, during the Nintendo ladder.
There is no way you played ball up top and then forgot.
You know what? I'm gonna take it back for a second here because I'm now actually processing what I'm seeing on the screen here, seeing UCSD Gold members who I have actually fought against both online and in person,
Yes.
relatively recently as well. So I'm aware of these members here. No surprise to see them in the top 8. Could you give, I guess? RC Neptune saying Shiny did my goat Adam dirty. Literally. Oh, I'm not catching any break here. I'm out here, David.
All
You can talk
good,
now.
but we can fill in the gaps for those of you that aren't aware.
Yes.
UCSD Esports Gold, one of the staple teams in the CCA, been around since day 1, frame 1. And they are back with their new look roster. Go Child and Ocean Opal graduated back in June, so they have now brought on 2 new members to fill their place. But it's going to be Ume, Blaster, and Nerdy Adam that are returning from that last year's roster to continue UCSD's legacy. Meanwhile, on the side of Skyfall, they've actually maintained a relatively consistent roster as well. I think the most notable players here being Brandon and Seminar. So Brendan, a player that you might not recognize from the name alone, but I believe they played on NZAP during the NA League. And they had previously played on, I want to say it was Papyrus was the name of the team back in like 2022 or something like that. So they've also flirted with some NA championships, qualifiers, I should say. They had finished top 4 a couple of times in those NA League or NA tournaments.
Yeah. Okay. This is making sense here. We're seeing some big shots here. I mean, we kind of should expect it coming out here from the CCA. And as we hop into Rainmaker Museum, a very long-range favored map, I'm curious to see what we have coming out from here. As you mentioned, no Goat Child, no more E-Leader coming out from UCSD Gold. I'm curious to see what they have in... Huh? Yeah, no, speak your truth, David. What do you got?
So, I got a chance to talk to UCSD.
Sure.
And they said that Lav, from what if I have this correct, I believe one of the players had said that Lav was basically a Goat Child clone. So you can expect a very similar play style. So it apparently it fit like a glove for this UCSD Gold team.
Oh. As the team that has to switch rosters here, Nerdy Adam just barely missing that there. That is something that I love to hear, though, coming out from UCSD Gold. Again, I'll do my best to be unbiased, though I do have a history with our wonderful, wonderful UCSD Gold team here. That being said, they do go 2 down here as they still hold top mid. I take it back. It's just Lav holding the basket here. Oh, I see the Goat Child in Lav right now. I can't wait to see what more plays that they have there. Okay, maybe, you know what? Yeah, that was unfortunate. You don't see the bomb that happened.
Unfortunate timing there. They do get taken out by the bomb. But CW2 holding on to this Rainmaker. Nerdy Adam gets called out. It looked like all 4 members collapsed in on him. But it's the Zuka out of Blaster that's able to find one and stop that Rainmaker. The Wiper goes down as well. The Rainmaker stopped in its tracks. And it looks like Skyfall is going to have to retreat here just a little bit to try to get back in position. And now they're going to have to completely divert their objective from trying to get a hold of this Rainmaker again to stopping a UCSD push.
These comps tell some very interesting stories. We see double Zuka Strike, and Cooler with a pen and just a whole lot of pain out from UCSD Gold, which makes a lot of... Oh, I'm surprised they didn't actually hit the top 100. Anyways, just that range. That range is all important on Museum here. That being said, we need some nice defensive tools here. That bubble on the check there does lead way for Icy Hot to grab the checkpoint. And with the bow up, which is massive object damage and cooler, if we just take the fish and run, take the fish and run, take the fish and run, we're not taking the fish and running, and we missed our opportunity to get some nice points there, David.
I think it was the Zuka. Blaster had one more shot there, and they hesitated. They didn't want to force anything while 2 down. So now UCSD finds a way to punish this perfectly. They find the stagger, call it a delayed wipe, and now UCSD with an opportunity to pick up this Rainmaker. They have the trip strikes, and they have 2 Zukas ready to roll to make this push happen and reclaim the lead.
This Splatoon is a game of seconds. Splatoon is a game of speed. And what I really stressed, at least on that last push there, is even if, you take the fish and die, you might get like maybe 20 points. That's still 20 points that you would have gotten otherwise. Rainmaker is a mode of your best push wins it. And the best thing that I like to see here with Cooler is if you can just make pushes in small installments, you know, pay in installments is kind of like how I think about Rainmaker here. So I want to see a lot more aggressive plays coming out here from Skyfall. We do see the bubble coming up in an insanely good spot here. Just walk forward, get those points here. And because they didn't do that, they missed out on 20 points that they would have gotten otherwise. Let's see if UCSD punishes them for not getting those extra 20 points there, David.
I think you said it perfectly, and I will actually say that that's the problem UCSD is having. That you're urging Skyfall to really take advantage of those opportunities and push forward and get a few quick extra points. I think UCSD is the one that's actually suffering from that more so right now. They found themselves with a few different, opportunities where they had the numbers advantage, and they just aren't pushing the Rainmaker. They're trying to play this slow and steady, but look, they have 2 down right now, and they still can't get up to that checkpoint. Brandon now hovering right around the spinner. They're gonna try for the 3rd time this game to break through the checkpoint, and they finally do so. Nerdy Adam now gonna lead the charge here. Gonna find 2 members of Skyfall in their path. Will take down one of them in return. So now it's up to UCSD to see if they can find this lead. Uame gonna pick up this Rainmaker, looking to pick off Brandon, gonna be able to do so, but the mist is out, and that's enough for the Whales to kill them and send them back to spawn.
But one thing that we see here is despite having a bow on the team here, we're able to hold on to our lead, or hold on to our position on flat there. We do lose Pop. Oh, that is the pick that we did not want to see happen if we are members of UCSD Gold. And now Icy Hot bringing the Rainmaker into a very inopportune area here. 2 down again. I kind of like what you were saying there a lot. Oh, wait.
No, they're gonna do it to them, Shiny. They're gonna do it to them.
So we have 30 seconds to talk about the game. Let's bring it down for a second here, right? I kind of want to discuss the strats as we saw here. Rainmaker is a mode that the moment you touch that golden idol, you lose your life. You are going down, whether by enemy picks or by enemy picks, or the fish itself will take it out there. So what we need to see here, right, is that's why I talk about pushing in installments. Because if you take too long, then, we're not playing tower control. We are playing a mode where we have to get cleared, go push, die, come back, hold the space, go push, die, come back, etc., etc. And again, UCSD Gold. Now unfortunately, we are no longer allowed to play in installments here, so we need to really make every push count. But we don't really have the tools that we need here, especially with SMR sharking over here, getting a pick, getting just 1 pick though, David.
The UCSD is gonna run down this timer. It's now just an army of mists and bombs and the decav coming in, and I'm not sure who ultimately got that pick, but it wouldn't surprise me if the decav is the one that saves the day for Skyfall. What a back and forth game that was, Shiny. Both of those teams had some great looks. I think you and I were both kind of on the edge of our seats, just wanting to push both of them forward at times.
Yes.
Because this definitely could have been even higher scoring than what we had originally seen here.
Yes, it was. That being said, we do see a very, very nice competitive match over here, right? Skyfall does take the advantage in the set, which means that they just need one more game to advance to. Is it single elim or double elim for this bracket?
It is single elim. God, if it was double elim, we'd be here forever. We'll save the double elim for the finals, day 2, December 7th. Be there. I
shall.
But it is a best of 3 single elim right now, so we will look towards game number 2, which will be Tower Control Hagglefish Market. Now, Shiny, with what we had seen out of these 2 teams in that first game, do you anticipate any sort of specific adjustments out of either of them?
I believe that Tower Control will favor how both teams play the mode a little bit more. UCSD Gold,
you did call it in game 1.
Yeah.
You're like, this isn't Tower Control.
No, it is Tower Control.
Now it is.
Yes, did I say Tower Control? Oh my goodness.
In game 1, you literally guys, this isn't Tower Control. we gotta move.
So like I said, this favors the style of both teams here. This will be very, very, I don't know. I want to see them make the most of their time. I want to see them make the most of the fact that they can commit, they can decommit to the objective here. This is Tower Control Hagglefish. This is a very, very popular, one of my favorite Tower Control matches actually here. It's all about getting those key positions. If we can find, I don't believe I saw a crab out last round. If we can find that bubble coming out from Skyfall, it would bubble either on that top right tent to hold that second checkpoint, or on the tarp even. That tarp. Keep your eye on the tarp. It is going to be the single most important position offensively and defensively. If the defensive team has control of that tarp, and again, that's not the tarp close to second checkpoint, it's the tarp that you see, pencils shoot at zone at. That tarp there. If the defensive team loses that position, then the offensive team will be able to snowball like crazy. So that's going to be my play here. I can't really tell which team's going to be able to do it, but just keep your eye on that tarp.
Well, let's see if there are any adjustments out of either of these squads going into game number 2. It's MTSU Skyfall up 1-0 heading into this one. Let's take a look at these compositions. Shiny, I think we're seeing a couple of adjustments on either side. And is that Blaster actually playing a Blaster for once?
I think Blaster's on a Blaster. I would say the Luna Blaster is an interesting pick. However, I see it about as much as I see the S-Blast kind of in some of these, levels of comp here. So, ooh, if we see one big kill coming out here, we already see the bubble player go down here. Blaster up, that's one, that's two. Can we get another, not quite a double, but still a very nice, impactful 2 picks as the crab is online and UCSD Gold is heading straight into that first checkpoint. Oh, Lav behind you. Oh, good night, Lav.
And it's almost kind of humorous how like there was no ink around this tower going into this first checkpoint for like a solid 10 seconds there. They were just like, you know what, we'll just go ahead and just hang out here and wait for them to come to us. They've already cleared the first checkpoint, proceeded to the second checkpoint. UCSD playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder right now. Finally, they're gonna get slowed down, but not before Blaster finds one more with the hammer.
Oh my goodness, that's just some wonderful play coming from Blaster. Blaster, by the way, the Luna on this map here, incredibly impactful, trying to hit around the splash wall. Is anyone able to actually get picked here? Being that, like, the kernel of popcorn stuck in your teeth, that is exactly how Blaster plans to play this round. And as you can see here, the defensive team does not have access to that tarp there. And just because of that, Blaster's able to sit in there for free. And he's still up there, by the way. Stamp thrown from Narnia. And Blaster does go down as CW2 Sharks on tower looking to get a cheeky pick. Can we see a cheeky pick? Cheeky pick, cheeky pick? No, but again, this is the game of kernels in your teeth. Between the leaders saying, you can't stand on the open. Oh, you can't stand on the open, can you? And Blaster just saying, you can't stand under the ledge. I don't know what Skyfall can do right now. This is such a nice check here that UCSD Gold has done with their comp.
It's just been an absolute masterclass out of UCSD in the first 2 minutes here. They just can't get over the final hump that is this third checkpoint. And once again, CW2 coming in with a clutch pick to slow down the UCSD offense. It's just the sticker stamper that's finally going to get shut down. And it took 2 minutes. But Skyfall has finally removed all of the UCSD rats out of their spawn, and they will get a turn with the tower now.
Oh, and we love Suka, just barely missing Adam there. And just, you set a turn with the tower. They did a massive 3 points there. This is the power that we've seen from UCSD Gold with their comp here. You can't stand in the open. You can't stand next to a ledge. See? CW2 just saw what happened. We stand in the open there. This is going to be a nice shark, though. This is the way that you get around UCSD Gold, is those sharks. Get behind them. We saw Lev get punched there at the beginning here by our decav friend here. But again, we can't really find a way forward. This Wavebreaker doing a great job of illuminating. Look at that range of the Wavebreaker there, by the way. Saying, you can't shark anywhere over here or else I can see you. And as Skyfall begins their push here, we need to see some big picks coming out here that aren't trades.
And that's 2 down on the side of UCSD, but Nerdy Adam finds one in return. Gonna set up a bit of a flank here. 2 members down on either side once again. The Zuka out, one more shot. Not going to be able to find anybody there. Lav now with that E-leader, trying to play a little bit of laser tag, seeing if they can find somebody. Will be able to tap shot their way out of that one. And now Wame's going to find another pick as well, forcing the members of Skyfall that are left standing to retreat a little bit. Trinket trying to hold their own in mid, but not going to be able to do so. Blaster will pick that one off as well. And this continues to be a stagger. Skyfall going back to base one at a time. UCSD back in control of this tower, seeing if they can finish what they started.
This has been just a masterclass on how to play this map here. Hold your sight lines with the E-Leader. Hold your angles with the blaster there. You know, even though we try to like get some space here, oh hi! We're now 3 down. All that we have now is a Winter Rapid with, you know, the Winter Rapid itself can't really bully anything. The only way that they have to bully this leader out of positions are really those Zukas. And with a nice pick from Nerdy Adam, oh, actually, you didn't really do that because Oame there on tower, managing to just barely help Blaster trade out there. Blaster continuing to be, well, you know what, here, every time I mention somebody's name, they end up going down here. So watch this. SMR is going to go make a play there, and SMR explodes. Woohoo! Look at that. I can't talk about plays without making them. We can't do anything.
That's what we call a commentator's curse, my friend. But
looks like
it's one thing that I really like about how Skyfall is playing. Like they are, you know, have an iron defense at that 3rd checkpoint. They have just made sure that it is as difficult as possible for UCSD to make any final progress and knock this one out. But once they get back into mid, that's when it turns into UCSD, you know, hey, we're back in an open field. Like you had said all game long, it's hard. You can't really be out in the open. You can't really be close to a ledge because UCSD will punish them every single time. So yeah. Skyfall with a great defense there, making sure that UCSD never knocks that one out. But by the time that they got back to mid, UCSD was right back in their home territory, it felt like.
We have seen some really nice matches today. One thing that I love the most about the CCA is that you always have a match. By the way, beautiful shot there coming out from Lav. Lav is showing that they are fitting into UCSD Gold as if nothing happened. They are living on Goat Child's legacy and then some. But we are on to now a game of 3 of the best of 3. Going on to, I believe, Zone's Barnacle mention. Oh, whoever made this map pool is after my heart. Barnacle after TC Hagglefish. These are like, ooh.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Shiny. I mean,
look at that.
It's nice to be complimented on a map pool for once. Although I didn't make this map list, I believe Mizuno did, and we just went to maps.iplabs.inc and clicked generate. So you could thank, I guess, JPEG. For this one, but you know what? I will take credit for it because no one ever says anything nice about the maps.
So, I know someone who's not saying anything nice about the maps, and it's currently Skyfall. Because as we saw here, Barnacle, a map known for its long range. Me, a pencil player, absolutely loving Barnacle. Also has a lot of those nice ledges. We see behind Snipe, we see in mid there. So, I would not be surprised if we see a similar coming out from UCSD Gold. So, I believe Skyfall appears to be on the back foot for just this map alone. So they may have other things to say about this map list, but you know, we're not in that BC. We don't know.
They can always forward it to our suggestion box. And by suggestion box, I mean put it in like Circuit General, and then we'll ignore it because we don't ever, you know, talk too much about the maps after it's already out there. Like, you know, it's the maps.
Yeah.
Just play the game.
Suggestion box to the trash bin, as Neptune says in production.
But I do think you do have a valid point, though. You know, I think that's it's a staple map mode. So I don't think that there's any complaints in that regard. I think the complaint more so is coming from, oh shoot, UCSD's really been flourishing on these open maps. So we might be in a little bit of trouble. So what is there anything that you think Skyfall could do to, you know, make any sort of adjustment to playstyle or composition to try to counteract UCSD taking advantage of these open fields?
You need to play the sides. I want to see a lot of that deep left area out of spawn. I want to see a lot of that. We take the stack, we take the deep left, and then we push from that there. Because if we play out in the open, we're going down. If we play next to a ledge, we're going down. You know, the leader, the blaster, exactly as we see here coming out from UCSD Gold. I want to see more sides being played, and I want to see more sharks coming out. That's how I believe Skyfall can take the advantage.
CW2 gonna start by taking that left sneaky, looking to take a fight there with Nerdy Adam, possibly gonna throw some chickens their way. But for now, they're gonna go ahead and pair it back to the zone to help Skyfall get the first cap of the game and 2 picks on top of that. So Nerdy Adam with the crab gonna be rushed down by 3 members of Skyfall, and they're gonna get taken out. So it's all Skyfall in the opening minute here as Lav looking to find a pick to get their team back in. Uame gonna start moving up as well. They need to retake this plat or the stack here on the right side. They are able to do so, plus the neutral, and now UCSD sees an opportunity to move in, but first they need to get through these chumps, and chumps are gonna actually help Skyfall there to retain control of the zone.
Even it's as if they heard me. On that take, on that hold, we almost had it there. SMMR and CW2 on the flank here. Both players holding the sides of the map there, forcing UCSD Gold into the mid there. Unfortunately, missed execution from both the slider and from the decaf shark there cost them that hold. But again, I need to see more of these sides being played there. They are already doing a wonderful job there. The chumps take the middle of the map there. Nerdy Adam over here watching this right flank, actually invaluable to the defense here from UCSD Gold. If CW2 goes down, then this will be a big pick. And it all depends on this fight here. Down to the right, we see a scramble. Nerdy Adam coming out on top, and that cements the lead here from UCSD Gold.
And now UCSD, they see it. They see their opportunity. The numbers are in their favor, and it's Skyfall all stuck in there. Oh, that's a nice pick from Lav. They're all stuck trying to get out of spawn right now and getting back to the zone, and that is a delayed wipe. It's gonna take a miracle now as Lav is gonna strike a pose, and UCSD will win game number 3. They come back from the 0-1 deficit to start this set and advance to the top 4.
So there's a philosophy among some players where, you know, this game is incredibly chaotic, but there's always one interaction, be it one fight, a 2v1, a team fight. But in this case, it was a 1v1. It was that fight between CW2 and Nerdy Adam. I firmly believe the victor of that fight led to the outcome of that match. And we saw Nerdy Adam come out on top of probably, again, the single most important fight in that match there. And because of that win there, that was the W. That was exactly what UCSD needed to take the win there. Look at these stats here as well. I gotta say, unfortunately, SMMR wasn't able to find the picks that was needed there. And the bubbles, again, not coming out when was needed. And I'm kind of just all around seeing some... Wait, Nerdy Adam was... I thought that was a T-Tech taking that fight. That was a Splash taking that fight there, David. All around.
Yeah, no, they were rocking the crab, and
yeah.
The crab actually really helped them on the offensive end to space out the rest of Skyfall, make sure that it wasn't going to be easy for them to get back into that zone. So I think that pick, that pivot out of Nerdy Adam worked beautifully. Blaster in that last game, we had talked about Blaster felt like all game long because they were cooking, and
yes.
Cooked they did, going 20 KA alongside those 9 splats and 5 hammers.
This is something that we'd love to see. And I'm excited to see what it looks like going forward here as UCSD Gold moves on to top 4? Is that right?
Yes, it is the
awesome.
top 4 now, Shiny. So we'll take a look at the bracket. It is going to be Daybreak, who wins 2-0 over the UCF Knights to advance to our top 4 as well. So it's UCSD versus Daybreak. I think if folks had looked at this bracket at the start of today, they probably would not have anticipated this semifinals matchup, as Daybreak and UCSD both just trying to figure out, what's going to work this season, and it only took them 2 qualifiers to figure out how to get back into the Div 1 semifinals. Meanwhile, on the flip side of the bracket, no surprises there. Death Roll versus Las Creaturas, who are going to be once again playing a semifinals Div 1 match on stream for back-to-back weeks.
You caught me pogging there for a little bit because I was like, oh, I'm looking at these players. I'm like, okay, yeah, and I know Oculus. And then I see Fox, Havoc, Thunder. And I was like, oh, okay. God, pardon. Oh, I see.
Yes. And it's always my... Honestly, Shiny,
yes.
Your reaction, I think, encapsulates a lot of folks once they realize what this VCU roster is. Because even Popgun was like, what on earth? First of all, how do you convince Thunder to come play in Collegiate? And then on top of that, pair them with Havoc, Fox, and Lux, who... Let's just use Ludi because that's what everyone understands.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
These are all... We're talking Div 3, Div 1, Div 1, Div X.
Yes.
We have never seen a team on paper that is this strong. Now, on the side of Death Roll, this is actually, you know, a very formidable roster to put together by typical collegiate standards. You know, Nico, Chico, and Oculus being two of the most noticeable names here, that they have competed at some of the highest levels as well. So Death Roll, you know, in the past has continued to come up second place, all of last academic school year in our major semester events. And now that it seems like, hey, you know, we could be cooking something here, a team like Las Creaturas comes around and says, okay, you know, if you want to be the best, you're gonna have to beat the best.
I have to agree. And again, not like, you know, we've been saying a lot about the members of La Crituras, but Death Roll over here, Ontos, I want to say, first off, shout out to the Xenoblade reference. That is like an ultra deep Xenoblade cut reference that I confirmed by their profile picture on Sendu. Some amazing stats over here. They are quite the player themselves here. I do not think that the members of Death Roll should be counted out, and they totally 100% deserve a place here in the semifinals. It
They
is just as you said.
do.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if, like, I do not want to count out the other semifinals matchup, but
Yep.
I think a lot of people see this as this might be whoever wins this will probably end up winning this qualifier. The last time these two teams played, it was a 2-1 in favor of Las Crituras. I believe Death Roll took game 1 and Las Crituras won the back 2, if I remember correctly. So we know that these two teams match up pretty evenly. And I think that's part of the fun of Collegiate, is that when you take a lot of these players that come from various experience and put them together, sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. You know, sometimes just the raw skill isn't particularly enough. And I think one thing that's noticeable is that any of these teams are vulnerable. Like we saw last week that Las Crituras, they dropped the game here and there. Death Roll, you know, it took them, I think they had to play back-to-back game 3s in order to get to that semifinals matchup to play another game 3. So Death Roll has been pushed a few times. PSU Blue has been pushed a few times. So the teams that we are expecting at the top, yes, they are there, but they are still having to earn it. And my favorite part about the circuit is because we are playing such fast sets, best of 3s, and really only one best of 5, there's little room to mess up. There's very little wiggle room. So if anything doesn't go your way, that's a prime opportunity for an underdog team to go in and snipe the top seed out of a qualifier. So anything can and will happen, but so far we've just seen a little bit of that vulnerability. We haven't seen anybody quite pounce on the opportunity just yet.
You know, Titans can bleed. Gods can bleed here. And as I'm sure Ontos, as a member of Death Roll, knows, they've seen a story or two about gods being toppled by mere mortals. So once again, I love seeing Xenoblade references here. CCA. I don't know. I think this is great. Again, while you were talking there, I was kind of looking into their Sendu profiles. I was kind of scanning to see what we have here. And again, these are heavy hitters on both sides. Like you mentioned here, we do see a lot of prominent names on La Crituras, pardon. But I don't know. I see, also, you didn't tell me that Death Roll here was a Florida team, which makes me...
that is the University of Florida.
Dislike them even more. Speaking as somebody who had to fight the Florida team at the very end of the LAN Championship Showdown, the bracket that matched up the winners of all the local LAN tournaments from each state, we lost to the Florida team. I have a little bit of resentment towards that state.
Well,
so, you
fun
know
fact
what?
for you as well is that Henlo used to be part of Death Roll.
Really?
Yes, Henlo has since graduated. So while that could be viewed as a bit of a setback for Death Roll, I mean, one thing's for certain, they are still an insanely strong team.
Oh, yeah.
This is just such a well-rounded roster, and I don't think that they're gonna miss a beat. But of course, as we had mentioned, right when it seems like Death Roll could be one of the teams to beat, then that's when a team like VCU comes along and is like, well, what if we just assembled the Avengers and they all happen to go to the same university?
Yeah, we need to see the Avengers here. I'm looking at the comps right now, right? And we see Oculus, Flex, Ontos, Bucket, Nia over there. Is that another Xenoblade reference? Oh, that's crazy. I don't think they're playing on this roster, however. But going to this, I'm excited to see how these two teams match up, like, weapon-wise. We've already talked about their skill extensively. We see some pretty flexing badges coming out there from La Creaturas. We see the brush, the pencil, an interesting pick there, along with a pretty standard comp coming out here. Once again, the pencil dominates. Bucket only on the side of La Creaturas. I am curious to see how they match up here. Oh, Clamblets! We forgot to talk about, it's Clamblets Ramen there, David.
It is Clamblets Ramen, my beloved. Your fun fact of the day is that there has been 3 times in CCA history that I'm aware of that we went to a full 8-minute clams game, and one of those was on Clamblets Ramen. Will we see that today? No, absolutely not. These two teams are very, very gifted. I'm sure they will find multiple ways to get up to that basket. But it is going to be a fun matchup nonetheless between these two, as the crab going to be coming out from Las Creaturas. They are able to start painting a curtain of pink to get this first ball into the basket. And there is another power clam on its way. Havoc going to dunk that one in, but they will sacrifice themselves in the process.
The power that crab brings, Ontos on the crab, displacing the pen just by existing over here. Not quite getting a pick there, as SRT is able to loop back around and continue the pressure over here. Oh! Showcasing the power of dually individual movement. This is the caliber of play that I expected to see from these two players here. These two teams here there, David.
Yes, Death Roll now trying to just paint their own side of the map. Las Creaturas has just a death grip on this elbow right now. It's gonna take this Kraken to come out and find 2. There's the third. Havoc now retreating. They're gonna see if they can take a pick and force the slowdown to Death Roll here. And Death Roll is gonna get a score off, but it's only gonna be 1 power clam. They did trade their life for it, and that's gonna take all of the resources out from Death Roll, and they only end up with 1 power clam to show for it. But nonetheless, the way I think this game has panned out in the first 2 minutes, it seems like that this is going to be a game where you have to chip away at the scoreboard, and I think that's very natural here for Clamblets Robo Ramen. Would you agree, Shiny?
I would have to agree here. Big plays, we say quote-unquote big plays that actually suit us. Their first push there was only 2, I think 2 power clams and a single clam there, which is again only 3 interactions on the basket versus 1 interaction on the basket coming out from Death Roll. So yeah, this is a map where you're gonna see a lot of back and forth, and I believe our key thing to look out for here are gonna be the crabs. The crabs, especially like the street that we see here, the street that you need to walk past to score an unfortunate death from Sparky, our Autobomb friend. We need to see those crabs coming out to take control of that street. So if we don't see the crab come out exactly timed right, again, crab there, plus a push from the hammer there does shut down street in its entirety, and we see another score coming out from Havoc, but with little to no follow-up, and a cancel there. Oh, there goes Thunder, Nah, Thunder's smart enough, he knows to back off, and saves the power clam for the next push to keep on chipping away, just like you said there, David.
So they do give Death Roll another power clam, but I think the good thing for Las Creaturas is that with another score, that's instantly points on the board now. So I don't think they ultimately mind providing Death Roll with that power clam, because as far as they're viewing it right now, especially because they picked it up, is that they have 2 forever beacons until they either score or they get taken down. And Las Creaturas, the way that they're positioned right now on this elbow, they're going to go ahead and take that because they're not in a scoring position. So it's just free knowledge of where the opposition is right now.
Oh, this is going to hurt. Forcing the pen to jump out with 2 power clams in tow. We just need to see, what is that? 3 more clams is all we see. Other basket, my friend. Other basket, my friend. And as we see the 3 more clams coming back in from Happy, that's 1. That's 2. That's all
third
they
miss.
do. Wait.
The third miss. It's under the basket. You see it, but SRT coming in with one more. No, they get shut down. Death Roll extends this game for one more minute. Wow, what a stop there. Lux now gonna have to reposition because they are nowhere advantageous. And it looks like Las Creaturas, they're gonna buckle up for one solid defense that's gonna have to last 45 seconds and some change possibly. So let's see, can Death Roll make something of this position now? This is almost as big of a disparity as you can get in this game, but with 3 members going down, it looks like Las Creaturas, they want to go for the finishing blow here.
I think that this Crab may just seal their fate here. This incredibly aggressive Crab able to contest the pen here. Able to contest Oculus there and shut down Snipe there. While it didn't get any overt picks, it did so much damage. And as the ball does get picked here, the Stamper on the flank there, I just don't think that Death Roll has the manpower, has the clams, has the economy, has the map, has anything to their name outside of one pity clam and 20 seconds left.
Its time is not on their side here
No.
as they have to go from their basket to the opponent's basket. And with 3 members going down, Nico is able to find a Power Clam carrier to stall this one out a little bit longer. So it won't be a score that ends the game, but the timer will end this one as Las Creaturas in a relatively dominant game here will take game 1 and will put themselves 1 game away from a second trip to the grand finals.
Oh, Havoc with the bag on stream. Oh, Havoc, my friend. That was a really dominant showing here. You talked about it before of Clamlet's Hagglefish, Clamlet's Robo Ramen being a very, you chip away at the basket. It's like one small push, it's 3 interactions, maybe an interaction or so. It was that until we got, 2 Power Clams and, every other clam on the map into the basket. Just barely hanging on by the thread was Death Roll. But yeah, no, they kind of got snuffed out. They were just completely oppressed in terms of space, in terms of kills, in terms of really kind of everything that they had, every quantifiable, metric that they had, just they didn't have enough of it. So we're moving on to Rainmaker Manta Maria, a very snowbally map here, meaning that once you get past that checkpoint on street, it is kind of a dash to it's a diving competition. Who can dive the fish further? Which I believe, by the way, I'm not sure if you knew this here, the drop from street to the lower area where the final goal pedestal is one of the biggest drops in Splatoon 3, matched only. I want to say misinformation, but it is one of, if not the biggest drop that you'll ever see in this game, which is really fascinating, despite being on, on a map that you wouldn't necessarily think there's that much of a height disparity on. So again,
it's
diving
Manta,
competition.
So there's all these masts and stuff, but
yeah, you know what? Yeah.
So no, I think that it's actually really interesting. I've never really thought about that. But you are right. This is gonna be a diving competition. Don't dive off the boat into the water.
No.
Please, definitely don't do that. We're inklings here. But diving the Rainmaker and trying to push that as far as you can is definitely going to be the name of the game. And with the way that we saw Las Creaturas play that last one, for a fact that they're gonna pretty continuously do that. They feel like that, not that they're indestructible or anything like that. I think that they see a couple of those vulnerabilities, but when they feel good about themselves, they will spend no expense to keep somebody in an aggressive position and just constantly being a nuisance on the objective, even if they just push it. If they push it 0 points, if they pick up the Rainmaker and die on the spot, Las Creaturas will probably view that as a win, because that means that they are still controlling the pace of the game, and it fits their playstyle exactly. They will just throw bodies at Death Roll and make Death Roll figure out how to make a play out of that.
Yeah. We talked about quantifiable metrics, and I think that one not so quantifiable metric is map control. It's pressure. It's, all these, it's momentum, right? And I believe exactly like you said here, Las Creaturas just tends to have more of that momentum, more of that map control, more of that pressure. Just in a way, out-auraing Death Roll in terms of just their names alone here. We see both teams there give up the pencil in exchange for zaps, which is something that we kind of see Edit, a very popular pick usually on this map here, kind of go the way of the dodo. So I'm excited to see how this higher mobility, lower range, higher, I don't say kill time, but you know, a higher mobility weapon play into these two teams.
Yeah, that's a really interesting adjustment. The fact that both teams made the same adjustment here is very fascinating to me. I guess they just want to, you know, well, it's pencil, so pencil just doesn't thrive as much here. So they want to maintain the cooler, the output of the cooler, you know, and without giving up much of the speed, you know, that pencil really was giving them and to get them and to paint. So it makes a lot of sense, but it's Las Creaturas that's going to be in control of this Rainmaker, hunting for that first checkpoint. Fox, I wasn't sure was going to make that jump for a second, will finally dunk it on the checkpoint. And they're making a big play here. 3 members down on the side of Death Roll. So here comes what I believe football fans have dubbed the tush push, where now they are just going to continue to push that Rainmaker inch by inch until they are told that they can't go anymore.
The tush push, huh? Just barely getting those, you know, 10-yard downs. Oh, we see. Oh, we don't see that deep of a dive there. As you can see, you're not touching that bottom area that we've talked about being so important to this comp here. Oh, but we're not looking at the fish. We're not looking at the fish. And just like that, Fox dunking the Rainmaker, taking off an incredibly quick game 2 over Death Roll. Always keep your eye on the fish, David.
That wise words there from you, Shiny.
Thank you.
Keep your eye on the fish. And that is a 2-0 for Las Creaturas. Scoreboard a little bit mistaken at the moment, but we'll get that fixed. So Las Creaturas once again going back to the Div 1 finals.
I'm looking over in production over here, and I want to say hi, Havoc. While you were talking there earlier, David, I just wanted to say, I'm not sure if we have any replays from that match there, but like, just Havoc putting on a phenomenal show of Slosher, showing why I love that gun so much. It does 70 and 50 damage here. Not quite this replay, but this one was a wonderful showcase of, what did you say, the tush push? Just getting a small, they didn't go for the full command on the dive here, but what they did allow is they allowed Thunder over here to just slowly pick 1, slowly pick 2, and this entire time, those 2 members completely separated as Fox got pretty much just a free push directly to the Rainmaker. Sorry, but as I was saying about Havoc on the Slosher, this map here, known for its verticality despite being a boat, just getting that 50 and be like, I 50 them. Oh, oops, I'm just gonna kill or slosh the bucket around 90 degrees at a time, and just getting pick after pick. I believe we saw, a 3 or 4 streak there, which was some really awesome, just a really, really amazing way to cement A, yourself as a player, and B, your team and your dominance, especially in an opening match on that team. So, like we say here, Las Creaturas moving on to the finals. Looking at the bracket, David, who are we going to see matched up coming into the finals here?
Well, UCSD Esports Gold and Daybreak are on the other side right now. They are tied at 1 game apiece. So, it can go either way right now. They are going to game 3, which we didn't get to see here, but it is Tower Control Inkblot Art Academy. It's 9 somewhere out there, you know, just doing a double take. Like, did someone say Tower Control Inkblot Art Academy?
The hair stands on the back of his neck there.
Yeah. I think for the NA League, we need like an official counter of that too. I think in the TO side of things on the CCA, we're counting the amount of times that teams come to us asking, you know, what is a buy? Because I think, you know, there's a lot of teams that they're new, so to competitive, you know, anything. So they're learning the ropes. But I believe, you know, before we had hopped on here today, I believe our counter was at 4 today. For the amount of times people have asked us for what a buy is. So we could take some time on stream to just quickly explain that a buy is when you do not have an opponent and you get a free win. So congrats. Take, you know, 20, 30 minutes to go play open, stay warm, go get some food. So it's just usually when you have
Eat
an
a
odd number of
protein bar.
teams.
Get some food.
Eat a protein.
You know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So we'll get that here in like official, like DRF is speaking to you at home directly. You know what a buy is. But 9-hole grades I'm sure is getting a counter going as well. What?
Wait. This new?
Wait, this is live on the.
This is live?
I thought we were covering Div 5 over on the CCA channel, so this is news to me. And they are just starting. Okay. This is POV from Nerdy Adam. All right, so this is not live on the CCA Twitch. So we'll just ignore that for now. But they're barely starting this game, so I guess Shiny, we could just sit here and break down and get to criticize Nerdy Adam's gameplay for the next 5 minutes.
You know what? Sure, I love bullying my friends. And while I'm not exactly friends with Nerdy Adam, I sure am opponents with them. But okay, let's talk about this here, right? Because I want to look at this match here a bit more from a casual standpoint, and just talk about kind of what we can expect to see coming out from the next round here, right? We're gonna draw attention to like these key moments, and I believe that this key moment alone there is we've seen Nerdy Adam hold a 1v3 defense going down here to the Zook or to the missiles here. Pardon. But we're already seeing once again the same comp: the double slider, the double fizzy bomb, the inkjet, the range blaster in substitution for another inkjet. It's playing pretty strong into. Oh, thank you Twitch for your ads. We love Twitch. We say in unison. Wonderful. Worst game on the right with a better game on the left here. But yeah, David, we're continuously seeing this snowball, this chip damage here, as we've seen time and time again coming out from a wonderful Daybreak, and it's not looking too good for UCSD.
Well, I think this tournament is now back on track
Well.
with the way that Daybreak just mowed through that one like it was TZS Game 5 in the NA League Week 1 preseason in the losers finals. You know, if you know, you know.
You know.
So I guess Daybreak is gonna be who we're watching here in the finals. So
Yeah.
again, I'm not sure too many people would have picked Daybreak to be the team that we would be seeing here in finals, but here they are. Like we've said, anything can and will happen with these fast, short sets. So Daybreak, have yourselves a day, my friends. The final boss has arrived. It is you versus Las Creaturas to claim victory in Qualifier 2 of the CCA Circuit.
We are starting off on Zones Umami Ruins. So a map known for its specifically split zones. A map known for chaos. And as we've talked about before, Daybreak, a team thrives on that chip damage, thrives on the chaos, thrives on the double slider, thrives on the double fizzy bomb, double inkjet, double chip damage. All of their numbers match up together. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. The same thing can be said, though, for a more traditional comp from Las Creaturas. Are wonderful, the big numbers, the 50, the 70 coming out from the slosher. We have the pen doing that wonderful, nice 68 damage, roughly 70, comboing with that there as well. The dually doing 30, the crab doing 30, 28. But whatever the numbers am I missing here. We're seeing a lot of chip damage. The meta of Splatoon 3 right now is how can we make the game as easy for everyone as possible? And from the comp from Daybreak, we are seeing that push to the extreme. So I'm curious. This is for me to know of. Are we going to be able to see? Wait, what is the bracket? Sorry. Are we able to see? You know, these chip damage centered comps, the more extreme version of Daybreak, come out on top over Las Creaturas? I am curious. I'm peering at them with my little competitive eyes. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this matchup. I think that we saw some great work out of Daybreak in that set against GT Gold. You know, it seemed like that they found a formula that worked really well for them. And I think that that's something that they're going to try to stick to be, you know, very chip heavy, you know, just try to play fast, you know, with things like the Reef Slider and that Inkjet leading the charge. I almost want to like beg them to bring out the double reef slider, double inkjet comp again. But I don't know if that's quite the play against Las Creaturas. So, but like I feel like that actually could be a winning formula. So maybe if this wasn't a split zone map like Umami, I could see something like that working. But like that's the one thing that really stuck out in my mind from when we got to see them in the round of the top 16.
Daybreak uses sliders not like a zones cheese. I mean, obviously they use the full range slider. They can zone cheese, sure. But they use it as just an EMP. It's just you send a slider into an area, and then anywhere roughly the size of half the map says no more crab, no more bubble. Like it's an anti-special while putting yourself at risk. And I think that'll be really interesting to see how that plays into, again, the most powerful tool that Las Creaturas had to offer, which was the crab coming out from Dooley, or Thunder, specifically on Dooley. You find a way around that crab by either, taking it out with the inkjet or just deleting it with the massive hitbox of Slider, and suddenly you've evened the playing field without spending too much to like put yourself at a disadvantage, So I'm curious to see how, again, we see those interactions play, and specifically again on Inkblot Umami. And I'm running the calcs in my head.
Umami.
Nope, Zones Umami.
Zones
Where did
Umami.
that come from?
We're just gonna put the two maps together.
There it is, Inkblot Umami right in front of us.
Yeah,
I looked at the bracket and I saw Rainmaker, and then I saw Tower Control. I'm like, yes, Tower Control Inkblot. Interesting. No here, but yeah, that's my thing here. We want to talk about things to look forward to. That's one. That's the slider and inkjet interaction with the crab. The second thing is who can take that dome, be it on defense or be it on offense. If a crab goes up on that dome that you see there, that we love to see Chargers perch up on the right side of the map there for retake. That's whoever has that's gonna have the retake or is gonna have the hold. That's one thing to look for. The second thing to look for is our off angles. There is a lot of things that you can do on both retake and hold by holding the dome and that deep left part of the map, again, from the perspective that we're seeing right now. So good teams will be able to maybe post somebody you think to be pretty far back, but is actually in a really advantageous situation to give, that holding team, you give up one space, you're going to fall back to the next space. And I want to see teams use the full length of this map here. That's going to be the winning strat, is who uses the full length of this map. In my opinion, at least, David.
Yeah, absolutely. As these two teams, I think, getting themselves situated here, we should be ready to go in just a few moments. But we'll kind of recap here a little bit. We are going to be going to a best of 5. This is the only best of 5 that there is in any qualifier. Ooh. So Las Creaturas here is looking to repeat back-to-back weeks. So if they win this one, they have pretty much locked themselves into a final spot. For those of you that are new to the circuit format, we are running 2 splits. So the first split is 3 qualifiers. So that was last week, this week, and next week. We take your top 2 scores from the 3 tournaments in the split, and the top 6 teams will automatically qualify for the circuit finals in December. Now, Las Creaturas winning this solidifies that spot because the 6 teams can't beat winning 2 tournaments when there's only one more opportunity to do so. So Las Creaturas, even by losing this, I'm pretty sure that they've locked themselves in as well. Back-to-back grand finals runs. Again, nobody has done it so far except for them, and there's only 2 or 3 teams that could reasonably duplicate that. So Las Creaturas are our definitive first team going on to the circuit finals. Daybreak here making a great case for themselves because, again, in a split, there's only 6 spots in grand finals, and there's a pretty decent point disparity between each of those positions. First place getting 100 points, second at 88, third at 77, I think fourth is 67, and then it again just staggers down from there.
I like how this format is played, or how it maths out. Like, this seems really fair. And again, how did Daybreak perform last circuit? Again, we've already talked about last week.
Great question. I actually do not remember if they were there. Just to be honest, because
really,
we all know for the first circuit was an experience. We'll put it like that.
To enlighten those of us who weren't there. Actually, never mind. You don't have the time.
Wow, what a shame that we are not going to be able to talk about it. So let's go ahead and jump on in to game number 1 of Grand Finals. It's Daybreak. It's Las Creaturas. Let's jump on in, and Shiny, we see what was a bit of a signature comp there from Daybreak. I believe the colors are currently switched, so it is Daybreak in the orange and Las Creaturas in the cyan. But it's nothing too surprising here though out of compositions.
No, it's not. One thing that I've loved seeing so far here is our Diagonal of Truth. Also, by the way, the stagger of the Inkjet intentionally, Windbreak waiting for the right opportunity to pop that Inkjet. They're going to have the Cooler coming out there, the Fizzy Bomb coming out there, and now the Inkjet comes out there, coolered up, and is walking forward with that one pick, putting themselves in a little bit of an disadvantage place here, with the Crab up on this beautiful Crab spot, by the way, here. We are seeing some nice back and forth coming out here, although I do believe that looks like Daybreak. Hold on.
No.
Hold on. Whoa, spoke too soon. Spoke way too soon. And Las Creaturas takes the cap and takes Dome.
And that's why Thunder is one of the best in the business. Make something out of what would have been an otherwise very precarious situation. To live through the rest of the crab and be able to trade 2 for 1. And now it's Las Creaturas who has taken the lead. Havoc in control of that dome. Shiny, you would point out that this is such a crucial position to hold, but it's going to be Daybreak that forces Havoc down and will take out Fox. This is going to be the opportunity for Daybreak to retake here, but they need to live through the rest of this crab.
We talk about economy a lot, and specifically economy in Clamblets, but one also economy that you really want to keep in mind here. Hi! Cool!
That reaches?
That was a full RNG jumping dually at max range. Let's just not even talk about that. That's fine. Thank you for exploding. Anyways, the economy of specials, and we see Las Creaturas had to burn so many specials to get back in here, and we see more specials coming out here, being able to uncap one zone. The second Inkjet stalled, not being able to launch it, and just like that, that is now 3 down with the zone now flipping. And Las Creaturas takes game 1. So, yeah, wow, that was a full max height, max range, jumping dually. You know, the 2-gun weapon with RNG on both of those guns midair, still instantly, dude. That's one thing that I don't think enough people talk about is the jumping RNG on dually is genuinely insane. They buffed that a little while ago and then buffed it again. Yeah, we kind of see the value that comes from using dually as just a shooter instead of an actual, like, you know, dually gun.
Welcome back, CDS. Close enough.
Oh, don't worry. V-dually is better than CDS ever was. It's not even close. Which, by the way, can I also talk about the fact that if we're talking about the main weapon of the V-dually right now, its roll speed is, I believe, 2. Here, let me pull up the doc, so I'm not actually shouting misinformation on the internet. But I'm pretty certain that the V-dually roll speed is only 2 frames off from Dapple, which was again buffed a little while ago within this game here. So if you want to stall real quick as I find the numbers, because I love looking at the numbers of this game here. Wait, hold on. Frame data. Dually has a roll speed of dodge startup 4 frames, movement duration 4 frames. It's only a 4-frame difference between Dapple. Dapple has a dodge duration of 8 frames, whereas Dually has a dodge duration of 12 frames, which is crazy. And its end lag, more specifically, has movement end lag of only 32 frames on Dually and 28 on Dapple. So yeah, it's only 4 frames shorter than, or 4 frames longer than Dapple is, which is insane. So a long way of saying V-dually is a good gun. It is a very good gun that we have seen a lot of play recently here. And especially in Thunder's hands, good gun plus good players equals, well, kind of what we just saw there in that last match.
Yeah, like I just didn't even know that was like possible. But you know that's why Thunder gets paid the big bucks to play the game. And by big bucks we mean like a copy of ARMS. But
or two if you're lucky.
yeah. So game number 2, Clamblitz on Museum Delfonsino, as we'd seen on the map list there. That this is gonna, I want to say slow down the pace of play just a little bit, but the way that Las Creaturas has been playing, marginally, it's gonna be a marginal slowdown. You know, if they continue to play it the way that they have, because with Umami, you know, it's very lockout heavy. And this one, you really only have 2 options to get up to the basket, and one of them is very easily defendable. So it's really going to be a matter of utilizing those specials to be able to paint a curtain, an opportunity for you to slide on in and be able to reach that basket. You know, Las Creaturas has done such a good job all day long of getting to those key offensive positions and holding on to them like nobody's business. So with Daybreak, now what I want to see out of them is, how can you know it's going to happen. Like, it's just one of those things that's like, you know, they've done it to literally everybody. They did it to you in this last game. When you had the upper hand in the opening 30 seconds, they quickly turned it around and just forced you back into your spawn. So how can you prolong those opportunities if you do get a good opening? And when Las Creaturas inevitably retaliates and gets a good push themselves, what can you do to push them back, not just to mid, but back to their own plat?
Yeah, and that's where this is going to be interesting here. I want you to, again, the themes of these 2 themes, Daybreak is chaos. Las Creaturas is consistent. You will see this, we call it the diagonal of truth. A position in which you have a player top mid, 2 players to the side of it, and 1 player almost rounding it out, making this almost like this iron curtain of movement as it just presses forward. Whereas Daybreak, you will see just explode, say, okay, cool, yeah, that's the arrow spray with the fizzy bomb and slider. That is a Dreadringer with the slider. You know, like, they have these ways of puncturing this iron curtain, getting in, but they don't have that prolonged activity. As you can see here, this diagonal of truth instantly falling. Oh, hi! Oh, wow! This diagonal of truth absolutely crumbling, as we see an Inkjet almost ready here. Breaking bad, mixing the power clam just barely, but Icebreaker over here finishes it up there, but they do go down as they score to a pretty decent push of 68 here, David.
Okay, so back to the question that we asked 30 seconds ago.
Yes.
What can Daybreak do to prolong these great openings? Because now we've seen back-to-back games. They got a great start there. And then they did fumble the football there just a little bit. So I feel like they could have gotten a little bit more value out of that opening push. And now it's Thunder that's leading the charge here. 2 power clams will get Las Creaturas the lead in such quick fashion. That was less than 30 seconds from basket to basket. And now comes the second part of what we had just asked. What can Daybreak do to slow down the pushes once Las Creaturas comes back and gets a push of their own? A power clam coming in. Thunder gonna be able to score that one. We're down to 22 points remaining, but it doesn't look like the clam economy right now is favoring Las Creaturas. They're gonna get slowed down here. Havoc gonna try to score, but no, they realize that basket's gonna be closing up for now. But now it's up to Las Creaturas. They're gonna try to hold this position here because they already see it. They see their opportunity, and they do not want to let this go.
You talked about what can Daybreak do to get back in, and I believe the answer is incredibly simple, just don't die. But as we see here, Las Creaturas is making that gameplay really difficult to do. You don't have the range, you're outranged by Pen. You don't have, you know, the map control to get back in. 2 of your specials pretty much put you in a disadvantageous position against good combo, fast-killing weapons. Havoc just saying, don't mind if I do, runs in and gets out with his life. And doesn't die to the slider and manages to get 1 on top of that. Oh, David, the clams are now in Las Creaturas' favor as they don't score on the basket, but hold their plat, and I believe, okay, they don't have another power clam, but still, they have the plat economy. They have the turf economy. That wave breaker is going to be going down soon. Anyways, things are not looking too good for Daybreak here.
Oh,
What?
and that Reef Slider went a little bit further out there, but that's something that they've been doing all day long as well, as we saw from that earlier bet stream. Havoc gonna be the last one standing on Las Creaturas, so they're gonna be forced back, trying to keep this power clam alive. And no, they're gonna go ahead and let this one go. Daybreak quickly finds their way to the basket though, and is able to score. But it's just the one power clam for now, as the range blaster is gonna hang back. They know this time how fast Las Creaturas are going to push back. So, smart play there by Daybreak. They get a little bit of chip damage on the scoreboard to bring the score a little bit closer. So another power clam from Daybreak can do wonders for them. But it's gonna be Las Creaturas who wants to end this and end it now. They need 4 clams. Thunder has 2, and the follow-up comes in as well. So Daybreak doesn't even get a chance to find a third push. Las Creaturas puts this one out of reach, and they are now up 2 games to 0.
I gotta say here real quick here. Neptune, thank you for keeping the camera on Thunder for that entire last push. Because that, if you are somebody looking to improve at the game, specifically a frontline support player looking to play this dually that has a really good offensive, kit as being a dually with a suction bomb, while also being able to be, a nice anchor in the form of that, crab, just watching how this entire last interaction went down. How Thunder went from being that menace on top mid to just swiping out an inkjet to going and being, the big cleaner upper in terms of the clan mobility. Thunder showcasing that roles are a manifest of our own of our own internal machinations. He says, I can be anything that I want whenever I want, and I'm going to do it at the right time. That's what separates a good player from the best players. And that's something that really shows, that I have a lot of respect for Thunder. Because again, swapping between the roles on the fly, knowing what your gun can do at the right time in the right place. I love to see that happen. That was some beautiful, beautiful Splatoon, David.
I will also say that
Yes?
I don't think I've ever asked 2 better questions going into a game. Because it literally played out. Like we asked the questions and we got exactly what we needed from those 2 questions. So, Daybreak can they get a good start, and what can they do to hold on to the good start? They had a beautiful start. They got the wipeout. They got the first score of the game. They got it down to 74 or whatever it was. Beautiful. And then, of course, then came the second part of, okay, now what do you do when Las Creaturas inevitably punches back? So we didn't quite find the answer there for Daybreak yet, but I think those same 2 questions apply as we head into game number 3. This is match point, qualifier point. It's Rainmaker on Humpback Pump Track. Let's see if Daybreak can replicate their early success once again.
Daybreak is scared. Look at that. There's still 3 members on their plat there. We see Icebreaker going deep into the enemy. Jumping out here. We see the members of Daybreak acting a little scared. They're all bunching up over here. That's not the same explosive opening that we saw last game. While they do manage to get 1, they managed to get 2. The Rainmaker not going down, but that is still 3. They played a lot more of a reserved opening than I was expecting there, David. And now they are slowly...
It was still good.
I
really like that opening, though, from Daybreak, nonetheless. Like, yes, you didn't get first control of the Rainmaker, but they got the stagger on Las Creaturas. That was an effective delayed wipe. So now Daybreak gonna take this one around town. A little bit of a dangerous position to push that Rainmaker, but nonetheless, it's not a bad spot. However, now with Thunder taking the flank here, this is just gonna be a free checkpoint for Las Creaturas, unless the Reef Slider can say something about it. No, they don't find anybody. In fact, they go down themselves. Finally gonna find a 2 for 2. But this could be an opportunity, though, to trade your checkpoint to get the checkpoint, because now this Rainmaker's in a great position if Daybreak can push out the members of Las Creaturas to match the score.
David, you can't see with my camera, but my mouth was agape this entire play. Actually, they're flanking in your spawn on a flank that you've never seen before, and that Slider doesn't pick the raid, which is a massive one there. It's a push to 19 from Las Creaturas is 19 is respectable on this map. As we know, Humpback is one of those maps here where A, you don't see a push coming out from this angle all too often, but when you see a push, it's usually on that main angle. And anywhere, like, even up until 30 is not safe. And a push to 19, well, I mean, you can't even get the checkpoint here, David. Things aren't looking too good for Daybreak.
No, certainly not. But with 2 members down, they could try to find a way to get to that checkpoint, but no, not able to get the rest of their team back in the action fast enough. It looks like they're going to settle for the Rainmaker reset. Numbers continue to be even between these two. Of course, I say that as 3 members of Daybreak goes down, call it a wipeout. And it's going to be Las Creaturas who pushes ahead. Lux gets called out there though. Thunder on the Crab, looking for some action here. Able to get chip damage on pretty much everybody on the side of Daybreak, but not able to convert that into any picks, as there just wasn't any follow-up from the rest of their team.
You said thunder earlier and then my house rumbled. I don't know what that was because the sky is blue outside. And the sky is not looking too blue over here for the members of Daybreak as we see another more traditional push here coming out here. But even getting this deep into the plow without any competition, there's the competition I was looking for, is still not something you'd like to see. As we see here, 1 minute, 49 seconds left on the clock there. And Havoc looks to push the lead there, manages to get more points. That is still incredible. 2 pushes this deep. Oh, Daybreak, we need to see something coming out from them fast. And as Thunder starts to flank over here, getting a pick on top of that and a crap behind them. And bye-bye, Rainmaker. Bye-bye. Oh, maybe not. Oh.
The Reap Slider being dedicated to Thunder there, and Thunder still wins it out. And this Daybreak just can't catch a break, to be honest. They have 4 different breaks on their team, but the break that they can't find is in this Rainmaker game to get that first checkpoint. They've had 3 looks at it so far and just haven't been able to make it work. You know, you honestly might be worth it just to slow things down a little bit, because they are choosing the more chaotic path to get there. Finally, they do get what is a little bit of a cleaner 4 down and not a clean wipeout, but they did get an effective delayed wipe. So I do think this could be an opportunity now with 3 specials online for Daybreak. Make that 2 specials online and make it only 1. And that's just what Las Creaturas has been doing time and time again, is just punishing and just diving and being able to get to the opponent before they get you.
This has been some wonderful dismantling from the side of Las Creaturas. Again, wonderful job to Daybreak. Daybreak has done a fantastic Splatoon. It's just unfortunate they're meeting the upper limit of what this comp can do. And they're also meeting the fact that, oh my good actual lord, that is Fox, the end zap, the anchor tradition. Thank you! Thank you! Yeah, they're like, no. We may have lost the game, but we sent a message. They said, yeah, well, okay, we'll go 3 down, but you're not winning the game in our spawn. So they have that respect. A beautiful direct coming from Daybreak, but that, I believe, cements Las Creaturas 3-0. Moving on to the, what you said, it was they're qualified now for the finals.
Yeah.
Congratulations!
There's just no way for any other team to catch them. So they will book the first spot in those finals come December 6th and 7th. So they still can play in the rest of the qualifiers, because the qualifier seeding is ultimately based on your total points across all 6 qualifiers. So if they choose to continue moving along, they are more than welcome to do so. They just, are going to be playing for ideally favorable seeding, which, in the modified Swiss format, it's really up to you how you want to go about, how you view the seeding at the end of the day.
Of course.
So it's still something to play for, but the main thing is they have now made the dance.
I gotta say here, looking at this replays, I haven't laughed more than I have in a Rainmaker game kind of ever watching that match, because that was I believe one of the most unique interactions I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. Be it from the push to the left side in general, the flank on the flank with the crab in their spawn with the reslider going to contest the crab, and who is the beautiful anime cut to off screen, and then Thunder emerges victorious. This match was I wish to not use the word too lightly, but it was cinema. There were some beautiful stories being showcased here today. And again, looking at the scoreboard here, we kind of saw what we expect to see here. More a similar match in terms of Ks. However, we do see Las Creaturas do bring the the higher end of Ks going into the this match. How many is that? Is that 12 sliders that we see coming out?
Yep.
Yep.
12
That's 12
sliders. So I do want to echo what you had said there, Shiny, that honestly, this was one of the most fun Rainmaker Humpback games because we only really saw the Rainmaker pushed in traditional fashion once.
Yeah.
All game. From either of these teams. Daybreak embraced the chaos that they had been running all tournament long, or at least from what we had seen on stream. So I love that they embraced that, because it's almost like they sensed that they weren't going to beat Las Criaturas at a very conventional style of game. So I think that the way that they had played it, even though they ultimately lost, they kind of were dictating the pace of that game as a result. And they forced Las Criaturas to make the adjustments. Now, Las Criaturas just overall was the better team today, based on, just the raw mechanics and overall team play. But if Daybreak gets something out of it, it's that, hey, you're the one that kind of dictated that last game and where that was going. It was a big risk, big reward type of play that didn't ultimately pan out. But I think that's still something that you could walk away with saying, okay, they won the game, but we have something that we can work on from here.
Yeah, chaos. I can't stress that word enough. Like anarchy, that is the name, that is the theme of Splatoon 3, embodied perfectly by Daybreak. Like, they forced Las Criaturas to play their game, and Las Criaturas, being the better team, obviously here, did their part. They said, okay, we know how to dance like that, let's go. They abandoned their traditional game plan, their traditional way of playing, and just said, sure, let's push to 19 on the left side of the map. Like, let's flank behind them and bop the crap behind them, and then play this chaotic game. And I love that from both teams being able to set their own pace and then being able to adapt to the other team while making each play their own game. I don't know, it's cool. Like, I like Splatoon. I like Splatoon a lot. And that's why, I like to see these maps come out here. All modes forces these unique styles of play, forces these unique comps to even happen. And even going further into that, like seeing more maps in play, like seeing Urchin as a wonderful counterpick map, right? While we didn't see it today, and I don't believe Urchin is in the map pool for CCA.
It
is. Okay. Still though, these maps that really mix up how comps should be played here. Again, I can't congratulate both teams enough for playing it their own way this entire tournament. Yeah, I believe that is. But that's the match. Again, congratulations.
That's the match. That's the qualifier. So this one is in the books. So we made it through. Nothing exploded this time, everybody. Ha! That. So, Shiny, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a ton of fun. Go ahead and plug yourself, my friend. Where can we find you?
Sure, that is at shinypikmin.sunsetsurge.inc on Blue Sky. Check me out on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm streaming there a lot more often, and I'm going to have a video, actually. We ended on Rainmaker. I'm going to have a video about how to play Anchor, how to play Pencil specifically on Rainmaker coming out, if not today, then tomorrow, at least there. Okay. So, we have the content happening there. If you want to have more Splatoon content pertaining to Anchors, that's where you find me. How about yourself there, David?
You can go ahead and find me, DRF-Splatoon on Blue Sky, Triton DRF on Twitch, but per usual, you can find me right here. Well, I say right here, but we're on IPL. So you can find me over at the CCA or here on IPL, covering all things Collegiate Splatoon. Thank you all so much for sticking with us today. Las Criaturas takes qualifier number 2 and punches their ticket to the circuit finals. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week for Qualifier 3 and the end of Split 1.
Bye, y'all. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.